everyone, and welcome to the 26th Annual Youth Summit. My name is Patel Albay, and I'm the co-chair of the Riverside County Youth Commission. I represent the 3rd District Supervisor Chuck Washington, and I'm very excited to be here today.
Hello everybody, I am Maria Davila and I'm the Secretary of the Riverside County Youth Commission Board. I represent the 5th District Supervisor Ixtian Gutierrez and I am the Commissioner for the 5th District. Today we will be serving as your Masters of Ceremonies. Before we begin, we would like to tell you a little bit about the Riverside County Youth Commission, who is responsible for this event that has brought us together today. We hope that you enjoyed this short video about our program.
On January 6, 1998, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors approved the formation of a countywide youth commission to advise the board on issues relevant to youth in the county, thus interacting on a personal level with the youth and better responding to the needs and making policy decisions. 5 youth advisory councils were created representing each supervisoral district. The 5 councils, along with the commission, provide advice, assistance, and recommendations on youth-related issues to the Board of Supervisors. Students are elected into office or positions within each council. This includes a commissioner who facilitates the Youth Advisory Council meetings and participates in the bi-monthly Youth Commission meetings. Throughout the school year, students meet regularly with their councils, provide hundreds of hours of community service, and participate in Youth Commission projects. The Youth Commission hosts 3 annual events for Riverside County youth. The goal of the Youth Retreat is to excite and prepare the students for the school year by providing them with necessary skills and information they will need to become effective Youth Advisory Committee members. Youth in Government Day is an event where students are paired with county employees based on their interest and career aspirations for a day of job shadowing. Youth Summit is a conference that's held annually and is completely sponsored by the Youth Commission. High schools from throughout the county are invited to attend the event, where we have several speakers discuss topics that are important to today's youth. The Riverside County Youth Commission is an enjoyable and rewarding experience open to every high school student in Riverside County. If you're interested in developing leadership skills, serving your community, and having a voice for youth, then apply today. You can find more information at RivCo.org.
I hope you all enjoyed that peek into what our Youth Commission program is all about. If you're interested in joining us, make sure you visit our YAC booth outside during lunchtime. At this time, I would like to introduce Nora Pham, the Commissioner of 1st District, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I may ask everyone to please stand, place your right hand over your heart, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Youth Summit is an amazing event that is made possible because of the ongoing support the Youth Commission receives from the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. Today, we will have the privilege of beginning our day with opening comments from the 3rd District Supervisor, Chuck Washington. Chuck Washington and his wife, Kathy, have been married for 49 years and have 1 adult daughter, Lindsay, a granddaughter, Charlie, and 2 grandsons, Kellen and Corbin. Chuck has been an elected public servant since 1995, serving in several capacities, including mayor and city council member for both cities of Murrieta and Temecula, serving twice as mayor of Temecula. His elected public service extends to many other organizations' board of directors, such as Temecula Community Service District, California Association of Councils of Governments, Western Riverside Council of Government, Riverside County Airport Land Use Commission, Temecula Chamber of Commerce, Boys and Girls Club, Habitat for Humanity of Inland Valleys, Temecula Economic Development Corporation, and inland affiliate of the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation. Mr. Washington is the recipient of many distinguished recognitions, such as Family First Award from the LDS Church, American Planners Association Leadership Award, Citizen of the Year of both cities of Temecula and Murrieta, Kewanee Citizen of the Year, PTA Honorary Service Award, and Toastmasters International Communication and Leadership Award. Chuck has received a master's degree in public administration and a bachelor's degree in business administration and owns a successful business in Temecula. He's a former Navy officer and pilot and was a veteran commercial airline pilot for 24 years with Delta Airlines. Chuck was also a former bank vice president. Mr. Washington is currently serving the Riverside County Supervisor for 3rd District. Please welcome Mr. Washington.
Good morning. How's everyone? Oh, come on. We can do better than that. Good morning. That took a lot out of me. I don't know about you. I'm not much of a morning person. But I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm happy to see so many young and smiling faces. I want to invite you and congratulate you on showing up for this 26th Annual Youth Summit. And it's certainly got to be better than being in school today, right? How do I know that? Well, for one, did you see how beautiful it is out here in wine country? And so, of course, that's going to be a better place. But more importantly, I know that today will be great because of the Riverside County's Youth Advisory Coordinators put a lot of effort into making this day special, fun-filled, and packed with important information. Topics that matter to you, like mental health, breaking generational cycles, and unlocking your career potential. After all, you are the experts on what issues and topics are important to youth growing up in Riverside County. The Youth Commission, comprised of all of the youth advisory councils, which many of our high school students in the room participate in, host this event on behalf of Riverside County Board of Supervisors because we see the importance of supporting, uplifting, and encouraging our youth of today to become leaders of tomorrow. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. I know that it's an active choice to spend your morning learning new things outside of the classroom, and I want to acknowledge how proud I am of your choice to do so. Proud of you for showing up, but also proud of you for taking on such personal and meaningful subjects. Subjects that I think in the past we may have been too afraid to talk about and share with one another. After everything we've been through with COVID, it has been apparent that students are more aware of themselves, their needs, and are actively searching for ways to better care for their overall health and well-being. One of the best parts of my job is empowering our young people and young public servants to make improvements to the world around them. Oh yeah, did I tell you about my job? As mentioned, I am the Riverside County 3rd District Supervisor. You heard my name, I don't need to repeat it. 3rd District includes the cities of Menifee, Wildomar, Murrieta, and Temecula, and it also includes this beautiful region of the county, wine country, which is unincorporated. With my 4 colleagues, we oversee a county budget of $8.5 billion, nearly 23,000 county employees, and delivers services over a 7,300 square mile area. If you live in a city, you receive services under the guidance of a city council, like a local police department, parks department, public works. The county provides the same services in the unincorporated areas outside of city limits, but we also provide services to all county residents regardless of where they live. We have our public safety departments, like the district attorney's office and the probation department, and we also have a robust healthcare system that includes a level 1 trauma hospital, behavioral health, and public health. And these are just a few of the over 40 departments at Riverside County. We focus on providing programs and services day in and day out for you and your family. But we also strategically plan for the future of this region that you will inherit. Your participation, not only today, but your ongoing involvement in leadership activities like YAC, ASB, AVID, and more, play a vital role in the shaping of our growing communities. Side note, speaking of growing, did you all know that Riverside County is the fastest growing county in the state and second fastest growing in the nation? Kind of crazy, right? You can help us make sure that youth-tailored programming is relevant and helpful. And trust me when I say that your voice will not fall on deaf ears. And while some of you aren't in YAC yet, I do want to take a second to note how incredible special YAC students are. In fact, my chief of staff started out as a YAC coordinator for the 3rd District almost a decade ago. That's how I know just how driven and determined YAC students are. Government works best when it's made up of people who live, work, and play in the community they serve. And it grows even better when we have youth participation. The result is a stronger, more vibrant community. I can't wait to see how your generation shapes the future of public service. And today is the beginning of that future. You'll leave the summit with skills that you can take with you after high school. Develop leadership skills, a greater understanding of civic engagement, and the knowledge that you have molded the county's important work. And when your festivities today come to an end, I hope that you are left with admiration for county government, something that for me continues to grow every day. Before I conclude, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the legislative interns and county staff who have poured months of hard work into today's event. Anitza Juarez, Ashlyn Arnold, and Youth Commission Program Coordinator Joseph Matthews. I also want to thank all of the speakers who are donating their time to be with you today, including my colleague, 2nd District Supervisor Karen Spiegel, Kimberly Smith Austin, Central Counseling Services, and my good friend and former City Council colleague, Senator Kelly Sayardo. Of course, we wouldn't be here without our sponsors. Saboba, Band of Los Seño Indians, Lake Elsinore Storm, Central Counseling Services, Native American Fatherhood and Families Association, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, Barons, Sizzlers, Raising Cane's, RivCo TV, who's actually recording today's event, so the students who couldn't be here don't miss out, and South Coast Winery Resort and Spa. Now, be sure to network amongst your peers, take plenty of notes, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
On behalf of the Youth Commission and all Riverside County youth, thank you, Supervisor Chuck Washington, for your continued support that has made such a difference in our communities. It's exciting to see so many students, school administrators, and community leaders here today as we come together to learn about the issues affecting the youth in our communities. The Youth Commission staff and Youth Advisory Councils have spent many months planning this event, and we are thrilled to finally be sharing this experience with all of you.
We hope you were able to visit our exhibitors this morning and got information on programs and schools within our region. We will have another exhibitor booth session with all the new exhibitors during our lunch break, so please be sure to spend time gathering resources and information from them. We will also have some great raffle items to give away after lunch and at the end of the day. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to stop by our raffle table to decide which items you'd like to try and win. Now, today's event will consist of informative and interactive seminars on the topics of unlocking your potential, empower you, elevating mental health, and generational change. These are all topics that were voted on by the Riverside County Youth Commission, including myself and Bethel, because we feel that all of these important topics are important topics for youth today. In addition to the presentations, we will have our exhibitor booths, lunch, fun activities, and raffles. We expect everyone to be on their best behavior today and be respectful to our speakers, staff, and guests. So many people worked very hard to put this event for all of you, and we hope that you will all enjoy your time with us today. That being said, there are some guidelines we would like you to follow for today. Please pay attention, stay off of your phones during presentations, and be active listeners. Be respectful and keep side conversations for breaks and lunchtime. We expect that you give our speakers your undivided attention. No food or drinks besides water is allowed in the theater. If you see anything other than water, we will ask you to step outside to throw it away or finish it. Let's be respectful of the venue. If at any time during the day you need to use the restrooms, they are located through the back doors to the right. Please try to minimize disturbances during presentations if possible and use restroom on your breaks. Please make sure you have your wristband that was given to you this morning, as it is how the campus and safety team recognize that you are at our event today. It is also your lunch ticket for today. Please note that if these subjects are sensitive and that if you feel affected by today and you would like to speak to someone about it, we do have a team of counselors present who are here to talk to you and listen to you. If you need to speak to them at any time today, you can find them in the back near the exit to your left.
Thank you, Maria. On your tables, you will find several resources such as the event program, speaker bio sheet, and a QR code for the event survey that will be completed at the end of the day. Once again, we would like to thank our Youth Commission staff and our sponsors for these fun items. This event is going to be really great today, and we want to see just how much fun you're having. So we encourage you to take pictures and share them on social media using the hashtag RivCoYS2024 and tag us at RivCoYak. If at any point you have questions, please ask a YAC coordinator in a gray polo, and they will be more than happy to assist you. For safety purposes, we do have a sheriff and a campus safety officer on duty. If any safety needs should arise, please inform them or a staff member at any time. Overall, we hope you find this day to be very meaningful. On behalf of the Riverside County Youth Commission, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today. Now, are you ready to start the day? All right, then let's get started.
Our next speaker with us today is an amazing, motivational, inspirational speaker, along with being the Riverside County Youth Commission Coordinator. Joe Matthews is Kuya, a first-generation descendant of the Morongo Band of Mission Indians located in Southern California. Going from high school dropout to earning a bachelor's in counseling and master's in business administration, Joe has devoted his life to working with Native and non-Native individuals, sharing his story of the struggle to success. Joe previously worked with the Morongo Tribal TAMF for 8 years, implementing a variety of community assistance programs servicing all age groups. Additionally, Joe is a certified facilitator for the following Native American Fatherhood and Families Association curriculum: Father Motherhood is Sacred, Linking Generations by Strengthening Relationships, Addressing Family Violence and Abuse, and Father Motherhood is Sacred for Teens. Currently, Joe is the legislative intern for the program coordinator and youth commission coordinator for Riverside County Workforce Development Department, working directly with youth throughout Riverside County, providing Board of Supervisors initiative opportunities and recommendations to better and support the future generations.
Thank you very much for that introduction. All right, guys. I need to do me a favor. Let me move that, get this out of the way. All right. So yes, my name is Joe Matthews. I am the Riverside County Youth Commission Coordinator. I have the pleasure of working with youth and high school students from throughout Riverside County and helping bridge the gap between the youth and the Board of Supervisors so the Board of Supervisors can better serve the youth in the county. It's an amazing job, it's an amazing opportunity, and I love every single day I get to do it. So, before I start though, she asked if you guys were ready. I don't really know you guys are ready, so I'm gonna ask you one more time. A round of applause, let me hear some yelling, let's get some energy. Are you guys ready? That was good, but that wasn't great. So I'm gonna ask you one more time, are you ready? All right, that's what I'm talking about. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about really quick before we get fully started, because I am not a keynote speaker, we have amazing people who are gonna be there doing that, is I just wanna ask you guys about leadership. If you raise your hand, because I don't wanna stay on the stage, I'm gonna make the guys who are recording have to follow me around, because that's the fun I get to have, to move your cameras. If you could describe leadership in one word, what would that word be? Who wants to raise their hand? Who wants to be a healthy risk taker and say what one word in their mind describes leadership? All right. Gabriel? All right, Gabriel, what one word describes leadership?
Confidence.
Confidence. Confidence is a great. Oh, by the way, for all of our healthy risk takers, we are giving you guys extra raffle tickets. Yeah, sorry, just so you know, I saw her hand up first before anyone else saw a raffle ticket, so I'm coming over here. All right. All right, one word that describes, Julia, right? Okay, Julia, one word that describes leadership.
Servant.
Servant. Ooh, confidence and servant. And as you guys can tell, I got Manny chasing me around. That's why I'm running around the room, because Manny needs to get his steps in. All right, let's go over here. What do we got? What is one word? This is one of our YAC, our Youth Advisory Council students. Karen. Karen, what's one word that describes leadership?
Guidance.
Guidance. Ooh. That's not Manny. Ah, you cheated. All right. Let's see, let's go right here. I'm going to you next. All right. America? Awesome, just double checking. One word that describes leadership.
Trust.
Trust. All right, and your name?
Amelia.
Amelia, what's one word that describes leadership?
Selflessness.
Selflessness. All right, let's do two more. Okay, I saw your hand go up. Jaden? Yes. Awesome. Jaden, what's one word that describes leadership?
Empowerment.
Empowerment. Ooh. I'm torn. It's not one of our YAC students, sorry, guys. All right, what is your name? Elise. Elise? Okay, one word that describes leadership.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. All right, that's going to be the last one. I can ask questions all day, but can I tell you something? You're right. Leadership is all those things and so much more. How many people in this room think they're a leader right now? Raise your hands. Okay, how many people in this room have friends? Everybody, right? Yeah. A lot of us have siblings, a lot of us have cousins, a lot of us have relatives or younger people in our families or in our extended families. Guess what? Whether you know it or not, they all look up to you. They're all watching you. Every single person in this room in some way, shape, or form is a leader. You might just not know it. But I guarantee there's somebody looking at you saying, what are they doing? And I wish I could do it their way. Because I'll tell you a little story about myself. I'm a high school dropout, as I said. You know, I got in trouble in high school. I wasn't the best student. It wasn't until I hit my 30s and I was old that I decided to go to college. And I got my bachelor's degree at 34. I got a master's at 39. And the whole time I was growing up, I didn't necessarily, I'm checking my watch because I'm not trying to take time from from other amazing speakers. But the whole time growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew what I didn't want to be. I grew up in a household where there was divorce, where there was alcohol, where there was drugs, where there was abuse. I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew that I didn't want to be that. So it took a very long time in my life to figure out what it was I wanted. And as I grew up and I got older, and I'm married, I've been married 25 years in June. Yeah. Actually, the young lady holding the white jacket, clap for her because she's put up with me for 27 years. Yes. Yeah, she's the one who deserves the award because she's dealt with me for 27 years. I've been lucky to have an amazing woman in my life for 27 years. But as we grew up, we got married, we didn't have good examples for parents. We had to figure everything out on our own, and the only thing we knew is what we didn't want to be. And then fast forward, we're working, we're married, we finally got a house, I have my education, and I'm kind of like, okay, I think this is what I wanted my entire life, right? Like, I finally made it. Like, I won't lie, I bought a hot tub last year, and I had a hot tub in my backyard with a big canopy, and I was sitting in it going, I think I finally made it. I got a camper and a hot tub, and like, I don't have to worry about anything. Like, food's in the fridge, bills are paid, I can go watch some football. Now I'm putting a TV next to my hot tub, it's the next thing I'm doing. But I was accomplishing these things, and then I started noticing, like, everybody in my family, unfortunately, if you have my last name, you have a felony, except for like 2 of us. Out of 27 cousins, only 2 of us don't have felonies. Everybody else went down that path. And then I started noticing this whole other generation who's 13 to 15 years younger than me, they're welders, they're professional dirt bike riders, they're going to college, they are happily married, they're having these amazing lives, and I am like telling them, I am so proud of you. This is so amazing. What you are doing right now is everything I wish I could have done at your age, and have the confidence and the knowledge of being a spouse, being a parent. Everything that you're doing right now, makes me happy. And my cousin, she's a pro dirt bike rider, wins races all the time. She's a professional welder. Ladies, as a professional welder, female welders make up less than 4% of the entire welding industry. She's a welder. And she has a government contract where she welds stuff for the United States Defense Department, working with top secret materials. So imagine out of that 4% of welders where she sits, out of all those people who do that job, that industry. It's absolutely amazing. So, yeah. So I asked her one day, I was complimenting her, we're having dinner, and I was just letting her know, I'm so proud of you, you're married, you have a beautiful family, you're doing these 2 amazing careers. I was like, I am so proud of you. You are such an example for everybody every generation coming after you, for all the young ladies, an example for my daughters. Like, I'm proud of you. And my cousin tells me, well, I had a great example. And I was thinking of her mom, because her mom's a firefighter. She's one of the only 2 with my last name who doesn't have a felony. And her mom's a retired firefighter. So I'm like, yeah, your mom's amazing. I love my Aunt Mary. She's one of the greatest women I know. And she says, no. My entire life I was told to look at you. I was told to look at you because you were the first person to leave the reservation. You were the first person in the family not to go to jail. You're the first person in the family not to go to rehab. You're the first person in the family to go to college. You're the first person in the family to do all of these things. You joined the military. Like here's everything you did in your life. And so since I can remember, I was always told, look at Cousin Joe. So when I talk about leadership, you might not know the leadership and the example you're setting, and you might not feel that for 25 years. But who you are as a person, everything you do, every decision you make, somebody is watching you and somebody's looking up to you, regardless of how you might view yourself. So when we talk about leadership, it's selfless, it's love, it's so many things that we could talk all day on adjectives on leadership, but just remember that every single person in here has that ability, has that in them. And again, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you're a leader, you're an inspiration, you're an example for somebody out there. And remember that when you guys are feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling like the world is caving in on you, that there's somebody out there relying on you and hoping that you're going to succeed, so you're going to give them the strength to do exactly the same. So as we go through this day and you hear these amazing speakers, Kimberly's next. I hope I didn't steal anything that she was going to talk about, because I know she's awesome and amazing. And I know Central Counseling is going to come in a little bit and go over some amazing topics with you guys. I just want to finish with this. Every single person in this room is something to somebody, whether you know it or not. Every single person in this room has value. Every single person in this room is precious. And each one of you, your value as a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, an acquaintance, maybe just the person who smiles at somebody when you open the door and you let them go first. Each one of you is more valuable than any mistake you ever have made or you ever will make. And just remember that as you guys go through school and you go through life and you struggle, because we all will, and you guys will overcome because you are something to somebody. You are a leader in your family. You are a leader somewhere. So I just want to finish on that note. You guys are precious, precious, precious in the eyes of every single person here, and don't ever forget it. Thank you.
Wow, that was a really awesome speech, Mr. Matthews. Can everyone give him one more round of applause, please? All right, so our next speaker with us today is another amazing person doing great things throughout the community. We are thrilled to have a renowned business strategist, international speaker, leadership development expert, author, and advocate for integrating AI in enhancing business practices. With a notable 25-year career that spans executive boardrooms and dynamic startups, Kimberly has guided corporations, executives, and entrepreneurs through strategic growth, leadership excellence, and the challenges of the modern business landscape. In her work, Kimberly leverages her profound understanding of business dynamics to streamline operations, enhance sales strategies, and secure long-term success for her clients. Whether they are emerging startups or established industry leaders, her approach is grounded in data-driven analysis and academic rigor, employing AI and other technological advancements to propel growth and elevate organizational performance. Kimberly is also a best-selling author and a podcast co-host, sharing insights that rank among the top 10% globally for business innovation and motivation. Holding a Bachelor's of Science in Business and a Master's of Business Administration, she lives in Southern California with her family and a legacy dedicated to redefining business success and inspiring transformative action in the HR field. Give a hand for Kimberly.
Good morning, good morning. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, say hello. Good morning. Listen, I am super excited to be here with all of you this morning. You know why? I'm breathing, and so are you, right? That's a good point, right? So good morning. Let me just say this to start off. First and foremost, every single speaker that came before me has the exact same story, which is amazing to me. Similar background, similar experience. And when I think about growing up on the south side of Chicago and moving from 2,500 miles away to here today, knowing that drugs and alcohol and all these things were a part of my past, but yet they did not determine my future. Mr. Matthews just shared that, and he goes, I hope I didn't steal anything. You stole everything. Let me just go home now. But I'll tell you, what you do with the life that you're giving will determine your future. How many of you are looking forward to the bright future ahead? Are you? Oh, that was so weak. I need more, I need more, I need more. How many of you are looking forward to life ahead? I'm not sure, but I hope by the end of this you will be. Again, having grown up in the south side of Chicago, making a decision that the life that I was dealt, if you will, the life that I was born in would not determine the life that I lived. And I want to give that to each and every one of you today. You get the opportunity to create your own life. I want you to think about a pen that you have in your hand, a pencil that you use every single day, and how you can use that small tool to decide the outcome of your life. Never, ever, ever let anyone take the pen of your life. You hear me? How many of you get that? Right, I want you to process that for a moment. A pen, just like you do your school assignments, your work that your teacher has given you, you now get to do that to create your life. You guys aren't. I need you to get fired up about that. Because had I known that when I was your age, I'd be the person I am today. But something told me that I could. Therefore, today I say unlock and ignite your potential. Now I have a slideshow presentation. As you heard, I've been speaking around the world for over 35 years. And so I don't want to bore you, but I want to get you involved and engaged in this conversation. Because it's a presentation, but it really is a conversation. I want to talk about life before the pandemic. How many of you remember that? First of all, when people go, oh, it was last year or it was 5 years ago, I have no memory. It just disappeared. How many of you realize that? There's a period of space in our life that it disappeared. But when you see here, community connections and collaborations, we hung out with our friends, we did stuff. We're kind of back, which is exciting because today, when the pandemic was happening, things were remote, it was really different, but not today. So here's something I say. I love saying this, life be lifing. How many of you heard that? How many of you have heard that? Life be lifing. It truly is happening, regardless if we're involved in it or not. And I want to challenge you to get involved in your own life. Get involved in your own life. Again, not letting anyone else determine. I want to talk about resilience, though. That's a big fancy word that people have come out with, especially after pandemic. They talk about resilience. But I want to ask you, what does that mean? What does resilience mean? Anybody know without looking at my slide? Yes. The ability to persevere. Now, by show of hands, how many of you gone through some hard stuff? Yes. And you're maybe 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. And I'll tell you, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I went through some hard stuff. But I realized that if I can get through this, I can get to the finish line. And that's exactly what I decided. Tomorrow, I'm having a conference for women about wellness. But I wrote a book to go along with it. And one of the things I just read was that I didn't realize I was fighting throughout the seasons of my life to get to become the person I am today. And you get to do that because resilience is about coping with life challenges and adapting to adversity. COVID was one, but there's so many other things that have happened in our lives. But I want you to think about it. Your level of resilience will determine your life, your outcome. How many of you are ready for a good life? I need some energy. You're top of the top students in here. You've made a decision that today you're going to be here. Decide today that you're going to be here and exist in life. And so when you think about this is resilience. Couple things. Energy. How many of you have energy? I really need to hear that because that's what resilience is. When you have the energy internally to say, I will, I can, now watch me. That's important. What about future focus? How many of you have goals? Yes, you have goals. That's why you're here, right? You're here because you have goals. But what about inner drive? Inner drive. Yeah? I think about that word because sometimes we're dictated by the things our friends say or our friends do, and we decide to follow them. But you're leaders. Mr. Matthews just said, you're leaders. How many of you are leaders? Okay, sure. Some of you are like, maybe, I want to be. But yes, you're leaders. You're here. And so when you think about the inner drive, but this one is important, flexible thinking. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Flexible thinking. You get to choose. I'm going to ask you, chocolate or vanilla? Which one? Chocolate. Okay. Why, Allie?
Vanilla?
Yeah, why vanilla?
I just think it tastes better than chocolate.
You think it tastes better than chocolate. What flavor did you pick? Vanilla. Why?
It tastes better than chocolate.
Tastes better than chocolate. How many of you said chocolate? How many of you think chocolate tastes better than vanilla? Okay, why? because it's a richer flavor. So you hear a variety of definitions, but here's the truth. You get to choose. No one gets to decide whether it's chocolate or vanilla. For me, it's strawberry. So I choose this life that we live. And it's so exciting that we get to choose. But I want you to think about the relationships around you. We get to choose who we put in our circle. And I want you to think about this, and I want you to remember this forever. In this lifetime, people will either put you in a circle or a box. A circle or a box. Circle are the people who are surrounding you, they're loving you, and they're giving you everything you need. The box are the people who are caging you in from being the person that you were destined, determined, and the heart to be. And guess what? Sometimes it's your closest friends and family members. Don't let them cage you in. Make a decision today that you will surround yourself with a circle. Ah. You're going to surround yourself with a circle. So again, life, I went the wrong way. Sorry. So when we look at this, I'm going to stay here on this slide because this is the most important. I'm going to talk about these 6 things right here. 6 things when it comes to resilience. Collaboration. How many of you have friends? Okay. So friends, key concept. How important are they in your life? Do they shape you? Do they make you? Or do they break you? I love to hear that. People that you thought were your best friends. And I know you're in a season of your life right now in high school, and the girl that we thought was my best friend, she was there with me, and then something happened. And guess what? She's not my best friend anymore. So we have to think about that. And I see the adults laughing in the room because they can relate. They can relate. I have a 17-year-old son who just went to prom last week. And the girl that he went to prom with, before the night was over, he said, I'm done with her. And I said, what just happened, Julia? What just happened? So we think about how do we collaborate and get in community with people. But this collaboration talks about our support networks, our social context, and managing perceptions. Think about your friends. We need them that are going to lift us up. But we need truth tellers. How many of you know what a truth teller is? What's that? I'm going to not pick on you. I'm going to pick on the lady with the pink, young lady. What's a truth teller?
They're the person who will tell you something you might not want to hear because it's best for you to hear.
Ooh, how many of you have those friends? Do we need them?
Yes.
Do we love them all the time? No, absolutely not. Let me tell you, typically when I give a presentation, I have on a 5-piece suit, and I'm ready. My best girlfriend of 30 years this morning, she's here for the conference, and she said, don't go in there with that 5-piece suit in. And I go, why? That's what I want to wear. She goes, no. You're talking to youth. Make sure they know you're cool. So I wear my leopard pants, right? I said, okay. And I have a hat on. I debated hat on, hat off. What do you say? Hat on, hat off? Hat off? Come on. All right, okay. So she won, okay. But she was there willing to give me some truth that would help me on my journey. So there we have it, collaboration. What about this other thing called vision? Vision. Julia, what do you want to be when you grow up? Physical therapist. Very good. Right here, Burgundy, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, and that's okay. Life be happening, or life be lifing, right? Life be lifing, and before you know it, things will happen and come into your view that makes you say, yes, this is what I was made for. This is what I was born for. Young man, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a dentist.
A dentist. Yay! I have a daughter that's a dentist. Great field. And so we think about these different things. We have an opportunity. When you have a vision, you go forward with purpose. You set goals. And you make sure it's in alignment with who you are as a person. But here's the next one, composure. In the adult world, nowadays, we're using the term emotional intelligence. How many of you know that term? Yes. Think about that. Where are you when it comes to your emotional intelligence? Are you? It says regulate your emotions. How many of you feel like you're doing a good job? Yeah. How many of you feel like you could do some more work? Yes. And guess what? I'm older, and I'm still working every day on those things. And I'm going to show you some slides in a moment to really think about where you are with this right here, because this is the key to success. This is what's going to drive you from where you are today to where you want to be. Calm, cool, collected. How many of those in the room? Yeah. Let me tell you, it took me years to get there. It wasn't right away. Growing up in a household with drugs and alcohol, best friends who told me I was their best friend, but yet put me in a garbage can and called me names. That didn't make me feel like anything special. But there was something inside of me that said, there's more to life than this. And therefore, I decided, I'm going to be cool, calm, collected. How about reasoning? Are you a problem solver? Yeah, some of you still trying to figure out how to 1 + 1 is 3, right? We're still doing the math, trying to figure it out, but it's happening with time. And then here's one that I think is super important, your health. Now, when I was your age, I was a track star, a cheerleader, a gymnast, and I really ate everything I wanted to eat all the time. And I know Flamin' Hot Cheetos is the hottest thing on the market today, right? How many of you eat those? What? Only a few in the room? You read the studies. Oh, I know. But I later learned that there was more to who I was with my health. If I made a consistent effort as an adult to move, to eat good food, drink my water. Where's your water? Who's got water? Show me your water if you got water. Show it. Yes. Only a few. Okay, the ones in the front. These are the water students. I love it. But think about that and how it relates. So we have this other thing called tenacity. And then I'm getting off of this slide. Your persistence, realistic optimism, and how you bounce back. But I want to show you this right here. And I won't go here. I'm going to go here about managing that mindset of yours. I want to ask you a question. I'm going to come off this stage for 1/2 second. Half empty, half full. Why? Because what? You can, oh, that was so good. You give her a clap. She said because you can fill it up. Even if it's empty, you have the ability to fill it up. Now here's the question. Will you fill it up? Yes? Yes. Life is going to be lifing. Things are happening in our life. We get the decision to choose. So what is mindset? Tell me. Who can define what mindset is? I'm picking on you, Luke. What is mindset?
It's like the way you look at things.
The way you look at things. And let me ask you, what determines how we look at things? Our experiences? How we were raised? What's that? Yourself? Absolutely. So our mindset is a collection of things, from things that we've encountered, things that we've been a part of, so we get to choose. I want you to say that word. We get to choose. No one defines who I am but me. So when you think about that, successful people learn how to manage their mindsets. And I know I'm talking to the cream of the crop, the leaders in the room today. You get to manage your mindset. No one else. And even when things are crazy, you still get to manage it. Yesterday, I was in ER. Yep. In the emergency room. Wasn't me. It was my son. But that's just as equal to being me. And mind you, I had a presentation to speak in 45 minutes from the time he went to that ER. So what do? We figured it out. We made it work. I didn't lose it. I might have a little bit and go, oh, what do I do? But then I brought it back together. So we get to manage this mind that we have. And let me tell you, when you change your thoughts, you change your life. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. And that's a huge thing. So here's 7 steps I want to give you. And I want you guys to get up for a moment. Just get up out of your seat. Number 1, get out of your seat. And I want to give you a principle that I tell people all the time. It's not on the slide, but here's the concept I want you to think about. If you ever feel stuck, If you ever feel stuck, here's what I want you to do. Move. All right? So here, I need you to do it with me. If you ever feel stuck, move. Do it. Let's go. If you ever feel stuck, move. One more time. If you ever feel stuck, move. So think about this right now. How did you feel doing that? I heard silly. Who else? Well, how did you feel just by moving your body? Great. Who else? Even an adult here. How did you feel?
Silly and goofy.
Silly and goofy. And when you're silly and goofy, are you stressing? No. You're setting yourself up to deal with life and everything that's coming. So we have to learn to move. I tell people, if you're stuck writing, if you're stuck reading, if you're stuck speaking, if you're stuck in any aspect of life, move. Come on, move. You don't have to move like this. You can move like this. You can move like this. You can move like this. You choose how you move. Move your body. It will make a difference. I'm not going to let you sit down yet. Here's 7 steps right here. Assess, reframe, fuel your motivation, breathe. Breathe. There's power in the breath. Mindfulness and journaling. How many journalers do we have out here? Anyone journal? Journal. Write your thoughts down? Yes. Okay. So now, let's go real quick. I'm going to have you sit down. Now stand back up. Sit down. Stand back up. Sit down. Stand back up. She said, I'm not sitting down. I want you to think about this for a moment. Your mindset, 2 sides, fixed and growth. Fixed and growth. How many of you have a growth mindset? All right, go on that side of the room. Go. Go. You're going too slow. Go. Go. Now, don't go because the other people are going. I want you to go because it's real. It's your reality. Don't feel ashamed if you're on the other side. It's okay. We're here for a reason. All right, so right here, you all have said I have a growth mindset. And when you look at this, there's so many characteristics. You're going to find a way. You'll make a way. You'll determine how to make an outcome. And then there's this other side that says I have a fixed mindset. It is what it is, and nothing's changing. Wah, wah, wah. And some of you might feel like that right now. But the truth is, you get to, say the word. You got me fired up right here. You get to do what? Choose. Choose. You get to choose. When we talked about that glass, half full or half empty, someone said, fill it up. So we choose. So right now, if you are a fixed mindset, it's okay. You might have followed the crowd and said, I'm not sitting over there. Everybody went over there. It's okay because we get to choose. Now come on back over. Now with that, the fixed mindset, right here it says, you avoid challenges. How many of you, by show of hand, avoid challenges? Honestly? Honestly? Yes, thank you very much. Honestly? Who's avoiding challenges in this room? Okay, I see some hands. Yes? Now it also says you shy away from doing the things that you don't know. How many of you do that? Show of hands. How many of you don't like feedback? Be honest. I don't think anyone likes feedback because I sure don't. She told me not to wear my hat and I wanted to wear my hat today. But I listened. And you all agree, But think about that. There's some things on there that you probably can relate to. Focus on proving yourself. How many are like, I'm going to prove myself? That was me for many years. And what happened is I became or am a very accomplished-oriented person. I'm driven by accomplishments. I have run for the last 3,100 days in a row. Every single day. And I'll tell you, I tell people, believe it or not, I don't love running. I don't. But what I love is what it does for me right here. Amazing. I finish a run, I'm like, ooh, it's a great day in the neighborhood. It's a great day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? You guys don't know that song. You know that song. But that's what it does. So we have to decide how we want to live this life, fixed or growth. I keep hitting the wrong button. Growth mindset. You view challenges as opportunities. Yes. The emergency room experience yesterday, it was an opportunity. Son, not doing well, thought he was dying. And I'm like, okay, how do I navigate this water? Let's get him in there. Bring a friend. Go, stay. I'm going to go over here and go speak at this thing, and I'll be back. And then he goes, Mom, I'm fine. We're going to CIF volleyball tonight. What? We were just in the emergency room. But guess what we did? We went to CIF volleyball last night. Kind of crazy. But it was real. That's challenges that will come up. Today, coming here, I have a conference. I had 27 people call me this morning before I got here. And I could have said, yeah, I'm not going today. It doesn't work with my schedule. But I knew each and every one of you were here, and I had something to share with you about how you can change your mindset. So, fixed mindset or growth mindset? Growth? Tell me why.
Because you have to learn to adapt to changes.
Adapt to changes. What about Celeste? Delizia. Say it for me. Deliza. Growth or fixed? Growth. That's it. I want someone to say, I have a fixed mindset. Is there any? There you go. There you go. Fixed. But tell me, are you ready to change? Yeah. Ready to make the shift so that you can be all that you can be? Yeah. That's so good. And that takes bravery to come here right now and raise her hand. So what's your story?
Oh, growth mindset, but I was fixed.
You were fixed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sometimes I do, and then I have to change it around.
We get into what we call stinking thinking. How many of you have stinking thinking or have ever had stinking thinking? Yes. We're going to change that, because here's the thing. You get to determine the mosaic of your life, the sticky notes of your life, whatever that is. You get to do it. No one else does it for you. And if you don't do it, guess who's going to do it for you? No one. So life is all about you. And I want you to think about, what would life look like if you could do what you wanted to do and be who you wanted to be and experience what you wanted to experience? The last 5 months, I've been to 11 countries because I wanted to. Because I wanted to. Of course, I did business, and I spoke there and did a lot of other things, and I climbed mountains, and I zip-lined through Costa Rica and went to Colombia, ran a marathon in Berlin, Germany, but it's because I wanted to. But the little girl growing up on the south side of Chicago in a household with drugs and alcohol, if she didn't believe she could, she probably wouldn't have. And so how you think about life, how you work through life, how you shape your life will determine what you will do. And it's about what you believe about yourself. Am I worthy? Am I good enough? Do I deserve it? There's a lot of things that'll tell you you don't deserve it. A lot of things that'll say, yeah, but you do. You do, and you get to have it. And you get to do what? Choose. I need to hear that louder. You get to do what, Julian? Yes. Vanilla, chocolate.
Mango.
Mango, that's right. This is a make or break mentality. Self-confidence is confidence in your own ability. And so I'm saying this. How many of you believe? If you believe, get out of your seat. If you believe, get out of your seat. If you believe, get out of your seat. You're like, believe in what? It doesn't matter. It does matter, but if you believe, get out of your seat. I got to get you up. The most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence. Remember I told you my friends threw me in the garbage can? Did you hear that? And they called me names. I heard a lot of names growing up. And I think for a while, I might have believed that. But as I look in the mirror, I go, wow, she's cute. And Now, here's the truth. I'm not the cutest woman on the block or in this room for that nature. But does that make me any less than anyone else? No. That's the thing. We've got to stop the comparison because it's the enemy of defeat. If I'm comparing myself with you, and you, I'll never amount to anything or amount to what I'm supposed to be. Look in that mirror right now. Put a mirror out. Put your hand out. Do you see it? See yourself in it right now. Look at these guys over here. Look at that. Looks like, hey. Look at yourself. See the beauty, the handsome, all of that good stuff, because that is the cornerstone to where you go in life. It's going to determine the trajectory of your life. Now, you may not think you're the handsome or beautifulest one out there, but what you believe about yourself is the key. I have this journey of belief, but I won't go through all steps. But I want you to think about it and just look at it. But it's built on our thoughts, our actions, potential, and results. And there's two sides to it. I'll let you sit down. Two sides to it. And we started with the fix and the growth. That's the thoughts. What are we thinking? Fixed or growth? But then the actions. How many of you are procrastinators? Yes. I know that there's a season in my life that I was a perfectionist, and it drove me crazy. So I then shifted and became a procrastinator, and it drove me crazy. So they both, it's like, I don't know what to do. And so you have to find a place in the middle. So when you look at that, procrastinate your actions or take baby steps. Because I want you to know baby steps count too. Everybody, say that. Baby steps count too. Say that again. Baby steps count too. One more time. Baby steps count too. What kind of steps count? Baby steps. Do we have to take giant leaps? No. Baby steps. Because it's the small actions that lead to huge results. You hear that? Small actions that lead to huge results. So we have to do that. The next one talks about your potential. Now, we can stay in our comfort zone. Stand up if you're a comfort zone person. I stay right here. I don't move. Stand up if you are. You don't move. I love it. She said, yep, that's me. Keep standing. Comfort zone people. How many of you jump out of the box? Jump out of the box. Jump out of it right now. Jump out of the box. Come on. Jump out of the box. You don't want to get up anymore, huh? That's okay. Get up. But here's the truth. Your biggest dreams, your biggest success is going to come when you jump out of that box. It's going to come when you jump out of the box. Alec, get on the stage. Jump out of the box. Get up there and jump out of the box. Get up there and jump out of the box. Come on, come on. Get up there and jump out of the box. Jump out of the box. Look at that. I hope somebody got that on camera. Life is holding us back when we sit in one seat. There's so much opportunity around us. The question is, will you go get it? That's how I close my podcast every week. I say there's something out there waiting for you. Now go get it. Every single week. And so when you think about that, your success, the results that you see are going to be dependent on if you stay stagnant or you actually strive for success. That's what belief is built upon. How many of you believe? I'm not sure. How many of you believe? I want you to say these words. I can. I will. Watch me. Again. I can. In unison. I can. I will. Watch me. You gotta linger that. Watch me. One more time. I can. I will. Watch me. Have a seat. I'm going to start looking at something I think is real. So when we think about this, confidence, think about this, is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and taking tartar sauce with you. You get that? Have you seen Moby Dick? The story, the book, the site? See, the adults are laughing. Huge. And you're like in this little rowboat, like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm coming for you. And that's life. We have to say, I'm coming for you. Again, those little baby steps. I'm coming for you. I'm going to get to that finish line, to that place, that season in my life that I deserve. Listen, I said that I deserve. That I deserve. So my friends, I'll tell you, there's so much. But here's the question I challenge you with. What's stopping you? Are you stopping you? Are you getting in your own way? I tell people all the time, we are our worst enemy. Sometimes, would you agree? But can we also be our best friend? I need a BFF, and it has to be me. I have to believe and put me as the best friend. Now, I'm not saying be selfish and everyone else doesn't matter. But when you love you first and you pour out to other people, pour that love out. You can pour that love out because it's here. You're grounded. You're centered. Such a key thing. When are we going to start? Living the life. I don't believe that. Some of you are like, yeah, whatever. This hokey pokey motivational stuff. But I want you to really internalize these things because it really will make a difference. I want you to take a visual snapshot of Mr. Matthews' face, my face, Supervisor Chuck Washington's face, and all the people that are coming behind us and say, they said that I could. They told me that it was possible. Because life will happen. Life is going to life. And the question is, will you get in that rowboat, get your tartar sauce, and go after it? So here's the thing I want you to know. Number one, get clear on your pathway. What do you hope to accomplish? Where are you going? What do you want to do? And I know that's a challenging question at 15, 16, 17, and even 18 years old. I didn't know until really my first job in corporate America, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm made for. Okay, that's what I'm going to do then. But it takes time. And don't beat yourself up when you're still not sure. I wish that I could tell so many in the school system. I'm looking at TVHS. So many parents allow children to discover that gift, discover that passion. Because that's when we work in our passions, we never work a day in our lives. If you see me, I'm out there like, they're like, she doesn't have a care in the world. Nope, because I do what I love. And when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Even in school. How many of you love school? Just a few, and that's okay. Because guess what? In this world that we live in, there's a lot of things we can do. But here's what I want you to remember. Pursue your passion, whatever it is. Because that's what matters. Passion is energy. You see how I can stand here? Because I'm doing what I love. 35 years. I believe that this speaking voice and this craziness, and I haven't given you the full package, you're just getting a little dose of it, that this is what I was meant to do. And if you feel like that too, come see me. Because there's passion that lives inside of you. You want to ignite it and bring it to life. And then here, solve a problem in your life, in the life of those around you. And you'll see a huge shift. Because that's what it's about. We talked earlier, are you a problem solver? That's life. How many of you are problem solvers by nature? Good. I realized at a young age that I had to figure out, how was I going to get to school the next day? I chose to go to a performing arts school like an hour away from my house. I could have went to the school down the street, but I didn't want to. I wanted to sing. I wanted to dance. And so I had to then say, okay, I need to get there. I want you to tell me. I'm going to pick on you right there. Stand up. Yep, You too. You, since you stood up. Nope, behind you. What do you want to do when you grow up? Whoa. That's so cool. Are you going to go to NASA? Maybe, right? How about you right there with the black sweatshirt on, with the little things like, yep, you're looking at me. Yep, don't turn your head. I see you. Nope, you right there. Yeah. What about you? What do you want to be when you grow up? A veterinarian? Very good. Back there, red shirt, red hair, girl, I see you. What do you want to be when you grow up? Radiologist, okay. So there's different paths. And that's the great thing. There's different paths. When you solve a problem, you find a solution for the world, whether it's a veterinarian, a radiologist, or flying on NASA. You decide. You get to do what? Choose. Yeah. I want you to remember that. You get to choose. You get to choose. I'm going to skip a few slides and go on to the shift and just talk about this time to optimize your life. We think that it's later, but I'll tell you today at my 50-plus years old, I know you're thinking I look 35. Yes, let me stand. Let me strut it across the stage real quick. I need therapy, first of all. But optimize your life. Life is short. We don't know when tomorrow is. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Therefore, every day, make the most of it. Does that make sense? Every day. And I don't want to make this gory, but I want you to think about someone who thought tomorrow was going to be the day they did the thing that they wanted to do, and they didn't make it to tomorrow. Just last week on the 215, there was a car accident. There were cars there, and then you move up just a little bit, and there was a body in the middle of the road. That guy didn't know that that was his last. So every day we have to live it like it's our last. Like it's our last. When you do, you know that you left nothing on the table. Nothing on the table. I challenge you to do that. And when you're doing that, stay on pace. The 4 R's, real quick, and we're getting ready to wrap up. 4 R's. Number 1, refocus. Think about what it is you need to do, what you want to do. Because sometimes we lose sight. Life is happening, life be lifing, but we want to refocus on the goal. How do we optimize? What is it that I want? How do I get there? Who do I need to be connected with? And then from there, we regroup. Because life be lifing. Say that with me. Life be lifing. So we need to regroup. Because when life happens, we got to breathe. Take it all in. Introspective. What happened? How do I get through this and move forward? And then remove any distractions that are in our way. Because they're going to come. How many of you are social media fans? How many of you live on social media? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day. TikTok, Instagram. What's the latest? Anything else besides that? That's all I know. What is it? X? How many of you are on that? Because what I'm seeing is society is saying that this is where we're at right now. And when we think about it, when there's homeworks, when there's exams, finals, when there's SAT, college exam preps, essays, sports, and all this stuff, sometimes we got to go, okay, phone, I love you, but we got to put it to the side, knowing that it's a distraction. And sometimes maybe it's our friends that are the distraction, but we've got to set them aside. And so when we look at that, I want you to stand up. Here's the most important. Stand up, stand up. This is the most important. Reframe. Say that word with me. Reframe. Reframe what? Your mind. Reframe the thought. Reframe the way you look at something. Reframe the way you said something. Reframe is powerful. When you use this tool, you'll change your life. Right here it says the do's and the don'ts. Don't think of stress as a threat, a demoralizer, pressure, overwhelming, debilitating. Don't focus on the problem. Don't fight stress. What? Miss Kimberly, what are you talking about? But here's what I want you to do. Think of stress as your friend. There's a beautiful video on YouTube. If you watch it, it talks about making stress your friend. When you make stress your friend, make it a challenge, make it a motivator, something you're like, okay, I can do this. ER experience yesterday. I can do this. And yet I survived and I'm here. Yay. Right? So when you think of that, don't focus on the problem, focus on the possibilities. That's it. So now you can sit down. because winning. It's about winning. Winning. Challenging the person that you are. But here's what I want you to know. If you know nothing else, you're a superhero. Stand up. Yep, I know, I just told you to sit down. What's your superhero pose? What's your power pose? What is it? There it is, Grace. I love it. I love it. Grace is like, right? What is that power pose for you? Right here. You're in your pockets? Okay. Jay, that's your power pose? That's a good one. I got a picture like that, Jay. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Get your power pose on, because know that you're a superhero. We can fight. We can overcome. And so in closing, I want to give you a couple thoughts. I wrote them down. You can have a seat. Here's a couple closing thoughts for you. Number one, forget about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow, but instead, focus on today. Right? Today. Optimize today. Everything that you have right here, all the speakers that are coming forward, that are here for you, make sure you are ready. And don't let what people do to you undo you. Repeat that. Don't let what people do to you undo you. You get to choose. And then be the person you desire to become. I brought 2 books right here that inspired me in my life. One is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Excellent book. Excellent book. And the first chapter says, take 100% responsibility for your life. And the second one is John Maxwell's Leadership Bible. These are my sources. And I want to tell you, if you do nothing else, read. Read. Leaders are readers. Leaders are readers. This is the guidepost of my life, and I hope that'll be the guidepost of yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Washington, Joe, and Kimberly, for all of your amazing and motivating presentations. Let's give them all another round of applause. We will now be having a short break.
All right, so if everyone could take their seats. Okay, great. So really quickly, before we start our next presentation, we have Kimberly to do a quick tradition that she usually does with her crowd. So please welcome back Kimberly.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Everybody stand up. We're going to just take a big selfie. All right, is that okay with everyone? A giant selfie. All right, so look in the camera. I'm going to do it. Wait, let's see if we can get ooh, there we go. I'm missing some. Wait, let me do it this way. I got it. Here we go. Awesome, that is all. How about my hat? Have a great day, you all.
All right, so we will begin with our next presentation right now. Our next presentation for today will be on the topic Empower You, Elevating Mental Health. The Youth Commission knows that mental health is a topic that is incredibly important to youth, and especially with the stressors of school, college, social media, and the many other factors that impact our daily lives. Our next set of speakers are led by Anita Munoz of the Central Counseling Centers. Central Counseling Services is located in Riverside and Marietta, California. We offer professionally trained and all master level staff, LCSW, LMFT, and LPCC, and registered associates. We are a medium-sized group practice that can offer you a comfortable, safe, and confidential space for you to leave your pain behind, decrease the anxiety, shame, and guilt that you are holding on to. We are a place that helps you pick up the pieces of your life, build better relationships, and explore your dreams. In short, please welcome to the stage Dr. Mario Rocha.
I don't know who Dr. Mario is, but I'm Anita, Anita Munoz. We're from Central Counseling Services. Our nonprofit as well, we have a nonprofit sister agency of Central Counseling Services called CCS Education and Wellness. Through CCS Education and Wellness, our nonprofit, we bring on students who are completing their graduate school programs and need to complete their hours. It's a really great program. We bring them in to complete their hours, and they are able to provide low-cost services for clients in the community who are uninsured and underinsured. So we provide services, mental health counseling services, for as low as like $5 copays, which is really great. So our table is right out front. You guys probably maybe walked by and said hi to us. So I'm a therapist. What kinds of ideas do you guys have of therapists when you hear the word therapist? What kind of things come up in your mind? Right there. A mental healer, I like that. It makes me sound fancy. Right here. A listener, I like that one too. Okay, right there. Someone who helps someone go through recovery. I like that one too. Oh, right here. Guidance, I like that one too. And right here. Supporter, that's another good one. And right here. Somebody to talk to, we do that too. And then right here, last one. Can you say that one more time? Someone to communicate back to kind of what you're going through? Awesome. So I love those ideas. Some people come into therapy and they think like they're gonna lay on a couch and someone's gonna like solve all of their problems. And that's not really the truth. Some people come into therapy and they walk in the room and they're really overwhelmed by the entire experience. They feel kind of intimidated by the therapist. They come in and they don't know what to expect. I try to tell my clients that try to think about it as a conversation because we are just people too. This is a non-judgmental space that you're coming into when you come into our offices. Whatever you say, we've heard probably a lot worse. And when you come in, especially when you're coming in to tell us things that you haven't told someone else in your life before, we are providing that safe space for you to share those things with us, okay? And just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean that I've been doing this for a really long time. I'm not that far removed from being a student. I just graduated in December, so I haven't been doing this for too long. It took me a really long time to figure out what I wanted to do. Kind of like Joe, I grew up in kind of a very dysfunctional family. It took me, oh my goodness, like over 20 years in and out of college to kind of go, what am I doing? What path am I on? I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and then I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and then I thought I wanted to be a therapist, and then I said, nah, and then I came back to it, and I decided to finish it, and this year I'm gonna be 50 years old. Can you guys believe that? I can't believe that. So my parents, my mom was an addict, and my dad kind of just left and didn't come back. And so kind of growing up with that like lack of guidance from my parents, I kind of helped take care of my brothers and my sister. And it was kind of tough because I didn't know, like, how are my parents supposed to take care of me? Like, aren't my parents supposed to? I saw some of my friends and I was like, aren't my parents supposed to be doing that? And I know today we're going to talk later to you guys about generational change. And as a fellow generational change maker, it's important for us to recognize that our parents don't necessarily have all of the tools. Even though they're older than us, we think they have all the answers. They don't necessarily have those answers, right? Yeah. So we struggle with our mental health issues, and it's important to talk about those mental health issues, and I really applaud you guys for wanting to talk about those issues today. Even though some of us are therapists, we've come a long way to get to that road. So remember, when you see professionals out in the world, doctors, therapists, dentists, veterinarians, your teachers, a lot of them have passed like that and have been through their own journeys to get to where they are. So just keep that in mind, okay? So I want you guys to raise your hand if you experience difficulty falling asleep, or maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and have trouble getting back to sleep, or maybe you're sleeping too much. Okay, that's a lot of people. How about if you worry about different things a lot of the time, or you find it difficult to stop worrying? Another good amount of people. Does anyone struggle with feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Okay. And does anyone have difficulty relaxing or any trouble sitting still? That's a lot. That's me too, though. I need to raise my hand for that one. What about feeling bad about yourself, like you're a failure or you've let your family down? And finally, does anyone experience symptoms like stomach issues, headaches, muscle tension, and fatigue that aren't related to any specific illness or injury? Okay. So these might be issues related to anxiety or depression. And many people experience issues related to anxiety and stress or depression, so I don't want you to feel like there's anything wrong with you because you might be experiencing some of these symptoms. And the latest statistics from 2021 show that more than 4 in 10, or 42%, that means in a group of 10 of you gathered here, people your age, more than 4 people are experiencing some of those symptoms that I mentioned, okay? That's a good amount of people, that's almost half, okay? They felt persistently sad or hopeless, and nearly 1/3 experienced poor mental health, okay? So there's this saying we sometimes have for our clients: who suffers when you're angry, upset, disappointed, or unhappy? You do. You got it right there. So our ability, really, the only thing we can really control in our lives are the reactions that we have to what's kind of going on in our lives. Our ability to pause and check in with our emotions and any physical reactions that may be attached to those emotions enables us to create space between the situations that are going on in our lives and how we respond to those. So how can you find some relief from those symptoms of anxiety and depression that you may be having? Does anyone know what mindfulness means? Any idea? Oh, we got the, there is no wrong answer. If you just want to like speculate, no problem. Investment in yourself. I like that. Okay. Taking time to think about what you want in life. Okay. Being mindful of someone. Okay. And right there. That is it right there. So mindfulness is paying attention to the present moment without judging or trying to change it. So this involves observing your thoughts, your feelings, and physical sensations without getting caught up in them. So the goal isn't to stop thinking, It's to become aware of your thoughts, but not get lost in them. So don't get caught up in your emotions and the feelings that are going on in your body. And a big part of mindfulness is awareness. So this means noticing how you're feeling and recognize the beginning signs of anxiety, like increased heart rate, sweaty palms, feeling dizzy, and then staying calm and without shame. That's the big key. No shame, no judgment. Wondering, I'm starting to notice like my heart rate's going up. I'm starting to feel a little dizzy. Maybe my stomach's getting upset. Or maybe, like if you're feeling depressed or down, I'm having trouble getting moving today. I slept a lot last night. I'm having trouble getting up. Like no judgment or just noticing and curiosity, like paying attention. But this takes a lot of practice, like a lot of practice. And there's no wrong way to do mindfulness and self-awareness. It's just simply redirecting your mind if you find yourself moving towards shame or guilt in your thoughts. I like to think of it as if I'm redirecting like a little kid who gets distracted, because my brain gets easily distracted. So like if you're trying to work with like a little kid and they're like, oh look, almost like the dog in Up. Look, a squirrel. You're just kind of going, it's okay, just go back and focus. No big deal. This is what's going on. I'm having these symptoms. But we are not our emotions. Our emotions are temporary and will eventually pass no matter how intense they feel. So I want you guys to close your eyes for a minute for me, okay? Imagine your mind is a pond and your emotions are fish in that pond. So the pond is nice and not too big, pretty blue water, so that's your mind. There's fish swimming in the pond, and those fish represent your emotions. They're not a part of the water, but they're citizens in the pond who swim here and there, darting about, coming and going. But when you're feeling overwhelmed by your emotions, remember to try to be the pond and not the fish. Be the pond, not the fish. So now that we've discussed mindfulness, this is where coping skills can help. And my friend Carol's going to come up and discuss that.
Sorry, I gotta adjust this a bit for all my short people out there. Hey y'all, so I'm Carol. I am an MFT student, marriage and family therapy, working under the nonprofit with CCS, and I'm gonna talk to you about how can coping skills help, right? We hear them all the time. Just use your coping skills. Take a breath. Well, what does it actually do? We can think of it as a way to help us manage our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors in a healthy way. However, when we think about coping styles and coping mechanism techniques, there's negative ways as well, and a lot of us can practice it sometimes, right? Some of these include drinking and drugs, procrastinating, overeating, oversleeping, avoiding social interactions, so not wanting to go outside and talk to your friends, not wanting to talk to family, and even getting angry or aggressive with either yourself, your friends, and your family. It may feel okay in that moment, and it may feel like, oh my gosh, okay, if I'm not dealing with it, if I'm not doing anything, then I'm feeling fine. But we're not looking at the problem when we do all of these negative coping mechanisms. What we're doing is we're just hiding it and suppressing it. So instead of using unhealthy coping mechanisms, we can use healthy ones. But what are healthy ones? We just had an example of mindfulness. Kimberly talked about journaling. That's a great way to use healthy coping mechanisms. Coping skills can be seen as self-care, right? We think of self-care sometimes as, let me put on a face mask, let me go take a nice bath, take a nap. But we gotta take care of our brains as well as our bodies, because they're connected. So think of it as taking care of yourself, taking care of those emotions and those thoughts that are deep within you. Coping skills can actually be done correctly, consistently, and these can help out at times. So healthy coping skills kind of remind us what we have. We have power, we have control. We control the emotions, right? We're the pond, we're not the fish. So How can we take those steps forward, which we're going to talk about a little later and show you guys some really cool ways that you can utilize healthy coping. But it starts with noticing how these negative coping mechanisms affect us, right? So I'm going to have a little presentation and example for y'all, so be a little ready for some questions. We have Noelle. She's 17. She has a big project to do, and it's so much work, so much research. So she decides to do something else instead. It feels good because instead of doing the assignment, she's just gonna go fold some laundry. She notices her room is a little dirty, so she's gonna tidy it up instead. And then it's back to sitting down. Oh wait, my screen is dirty. Let me go clean it. Oh my gosh, no, now I cleaned it and here's another thing to do. So what Noelle is doing at this moment is procrastinating. She's avoiding it. She's not looking at the root of the cause, what's causing anxiety. And these are things that we can do sometimes that are unhealthy. So what consequences might develop for Noelle because she's procrastinating? Any thoughts? Right back there with the blue? That's right. She might get really stressed. All right. Right here. That's right. Guilt because she's not getting it done. Right here. Mm-hmm. No, she might feel worse, that's right, because then there's not enough time because we're procrastinating. Over here with the glasses. Develop anxiety. It's a good one, and we're going to take one more right here in the front. Yep, she can develop anxiety, and it's going to cause more stress. So it's not getting down to the root of the issue with procrastinating. She's coping in a negative way, but sometimes we don't know how are we going to cope in a positive way, right? So what barriers might be preventing Noelle from utilizing healthy coping mechanisms? What's stopping her from practicing mindfulness, journaling, and using other types? Right in the peak. That's right, embarrassment. Over here. Mm-hmm. That's right, she might not know about these things. Let's see, I'm gonna have one more person back there in the blue and glasses.
It's okay.
It takes a lot of effort and focus when
Yeah, it can feel like a lot of effort. That's right. These are all very great examples of barriers that keep us from utilizing these healthy coping mechanisms, which is why it's important to learn they're not a one-size-fits-all. So I'm going to be handing the mic over to Mark, I believe.
Y'all. Are there seniors in the audience here? Raise your hand if you're a senior. Anyone know what senioritis is? Anyone know what happens after senioritis? What happens after senioritis? I feel like I'm bringing the energy of after senioritis today. Carol and Anita have been a little bit nervous and a little bit using their coping exercises, like Carol, I think. Carol? Anyway, I'm going to go over some examples.
Mark just graduated.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, full circle.
Cool as a cucumber today. And we're like, why aren't you nervous? And he's like, I don't know. Like, this is post-grad, Mark.
Yeah, so my name is Mark. I'm technically still a student in the Marriage and Family Therapy grad program, working at CCS, the nonprofit. I've finished my year. So I am a continuing therapist in marriage and family therapy. Trainees and therapists work with whole families, work with couples, work with individuals. That's me. So let's talk about some more coping skills you might already be doing. You've heard about it this morning also in terms of exercise, movement? What are some things, just yell it out, what are some things that you do that are movement oriented? Moving your body. Dancing, yeah, good. What else? Yeah. Basketball, yeah. How does that make you feel when you do after you do basketball? Good. Nice. What else? Doing art, yeah. That moves your body. What is it? Stunting. Cool. Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Other dance-related things, yoga, stretching. I'm gonna have to try some stunting. How does a person my age learn stunting? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, I'll just do backflip. Carol will help. Okay, so what about talking with friends? Who talks with friends as a form of coping? Who looks like a lot of hands. Anyone not talk with friends as a form of coping? No? Everyone in the room copes by talking with friends. And that would be socially, just hanging out, just having a good time. What about talking about specific problems with a friend? Talking about specific, relationship issues. You do that? Let me make a picture. What about, someone mentioned art. That, in terms of hobbies, exercises, like things that you like to do. Yeah, what do you like? Drawing, yeah. What about other hobbies? Yeah? Marching band? Nice. Yeah. Practicing. Yeah. What is it? Cheer? Yeah.
Another stunter.
Huh? Painting? Yeah, so there's lots of things that we can do. They're our own interest. Like, I'm going to take up stunting, but probably not everyone else in the audience is going to be so passionate about stunting as I am. That's okay. Some people like drawing. Yeah. What's that? Playing video games. That was one I was going to get to. That's definitely a hobby. Definitely, a lot of people do that to get really good at it, but it's also a form of distraction, entertainment. It combines a lot of these different coping strategies, right? What about music? Who listens to music for coping? Anyone not listen to music for coping? Everyone knows this one. Who has different musics for different types of coping needs? Talk about your needs. Can she get a mic? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, lots of different playlists for lots of different categories of different times you're going to go to the beach, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Nice. Yeah. Any other creative uses of music? Yeah. Oh, so you perform the music. Yeah, nice. And do you have a different song that you would sing for a different mood? Uh-huh. Cool. You have it? Uh-huh. Okay. And so if someone else is, she was saying she plays a different type of song on violin based on her mood. So when you're playing the sad song or the happy song, are people in the house hearing that and going, uh-oh, not a good day, stay away? Cool. Okay, last, positive self-talk. Who can give an example of positive self-talk that you use? Nice and loud. Here, use the microphone.
Huh?
Use the microphone.
Use the microphone?
Yeah, nice and confident and loud, positive self-talk.
Okay, so before my math test, I was like, oh, I can definitely do this, you know? I can get 100% because I didn't study for like a week before, so I was really stressed.
So you did it. Nice. Who else has some examples of positive self-talk? Yeah. Like what would be a positive affirmation?
Usually, like, I leave like a sticky note of like telling myself like I'm worthy. I'm like to like hype myself up.
Yeah, I can imagine a whole room full of sticky notes with all these different thoughts. Who else? Over here. Yeah. Yeah. Sports sounds like, it seems like an area where you get a lot of positive self-talk from others too, right? Yeah, your teammates are like, this person needs a boost. Yeah.
I got this.
When you're working out?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything that you're already doing that we haven't talked about? Anyone want to add? Yeah. Oh, there's a mic right behind you.
I have this note doc on my phone about stuff that I like about myself, and sometimes when I'm just feeling like kind of upset, I'll just look at that notes doc and just be like, oh, there's this about me that I really like, and it's just
Nice.
comforting.
Yeah. You get it from your phone. And one more, back to the back table.
My friend Tess and I were here. When we get stressed, we like to take long drives in my car, like listening to music.
Oh,
But
cool.
just the act of driving is calming.
Nice. All right, we're going to have Anita demonstrate, well, we're going to demonstrate several specific, possibly new coping skills. This is like a therapy speak kind of approach to things, a little bit more structured than maybe we've talked about here, but we're going to start with Anita, and we'll go through several different coping skills.
Okie dokie. I feel like we don't even have to do this section because you guys are already doing the work. Those are like awesome answers. I'm so impressed. So the first coping skill that that I always recommend to my clients is called box breathing, or it's called 444 or 446. It's easy to remember, and typically people call it deep breathing. I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in through your nose, slowly for a count of 4. You hold it for a count of 4, and exhale slowly for a count of 4 or longer. The longer that you make the exhale, the better that you get the benefit of it, because it sends a signal to your brain that tells it to calm down, okay? So let's do this together. Breathe in through your nose. 2, 3, 4, hold it. 2, 3, 4, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Let's do it one more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, hold it. 2, 3, 4, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do this anywhere. People can't tell you're, unless you're obvious and you're like, so. You can do it anywhere though. People can't tell you're doing it. So if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, you can do it anywhere. No one can tell you're doing it, okay? How do you feel after doing it? A little calmer, a little more chill? I mean, you guys are pretty calm now, but a little bit more relaxed. Not too relaxed, but okay. I am going to pass this on to Mark really quick, one more time. You don't have to stretch it out because we're getting
Who wants to volunteer to demonstrate this? Someone in this area, I haven't heard too much. The red team. Yes. Can we get a microphone? And go ahead and stand up. Stand up and. Okay, so this is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you gonna make me breathe?
What's that?
Are you gonna, like, do I have to breathe?
No, not breathing.
Oh, okay. I was like, I couldn't do that. My fault. All right.
You can breathe. If you
I know, but it was like hard because I was like, it's hard. It's hard.
Okay. This is going to help you relax. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Name 5 things right now that you can see.
That I can see: people, chairs, floor, ceiling, chandelier, wood. I don't know. Is that 5?
Yeah.
That was 5?
Is that more than 5? Okay, now name 4 things that you can feel.
The air, the microphone, my clothes, whatever, the keys on my pocket, my shoes. That's it.
Name 3 things that you can hear.
People talking in the background, my own voice, and people laughing.
Nice. 2 things that you can smell.
Smell? Oh, the watermelon gum in my mouth. I kind of smell like nothing. That nothing smell, like that.
If you smell it. And 1 thing that you can, what do you think?
That I can what?
1 thing that you can
eat?
Taste.
Oh, taste. Oh, yeah, my watermelon gum in my mouth right now.
Okay. How do you feel right now?
How do I mean, I'm here. I'm that's how I feel. I feel cool, calm, collective, things of that nature. That's pretty much it.
So the idea with this exercise, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is we're talking about all these things that we can perceive from within our body. So the idea is we're grounding instead of, oh yeah, give me a hand. A lot of times with stress, with worry, we're thinking like, oh, did I screw up that conversation? Did I say something weird? Or am I going to fail that test? All these kind of worries are outside of ourselves. They're in the future, they're in the past. This exercise is like bring us back to ourselves. Put us in our bodies, just calm ourselves down. Because right now in the room, like it might be weird, it might be, like if you go out and ask anyone, average person on the street, what are they most afraid of? What do you think they're going to say? Oh, sure. Sorry. Is that better? Okay. Number 1 fear of most people in the world. What is it? Same person. What are people afraid of?
Fear is, I don't even know. Probably when I eat a chip and sometimes it gets lodged in my throat and it kind of cuts my throat. I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone.
I'm sorry to hear about that, but no, that's wrong. It's public speaking. It's public speaking. That's the answer. Public speaking. So what I'm saying is like right now on the stage, people might be nervous to speak, but that's this worry outside of ourselves. So if I can be like, while I'm having this conversation, what are 5 things that I can see? There's 5 people at this table I can see. What are 4 things I can hear? People talking, chatter. Anita's stomach growling. The idea is we can bring it back to ourselves. And both of these things, the box breathing, and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are things that we can do kind of without anyone even realizing that we're calming ourselves down. So that can be nice and discreet. All right. Carol's up next.
Shout out, Mark, for calling me and Anita out on being nervous. So I'm gonna show y'all another coping technique that can be healthy. So get comfy, get relaxed. Make sure both of your feet are on the floor. All right. So you can practice this one at school, at home, while laying in bed, standing up. I know I was doing it before coming up here because I'm also scared of public speaking. So it's called progressive muscle relaxation. We're aware that there's a connection between our mind and our body. The way that we feel can sometimes affect the way that our body feels, right? There's at times where something stressful is going on. We're out here speaking to the public. We got a presentation, do an assignment. So there's the tension that we get in our body from those fears. Maybe it's in your jaw from clenching it all day, causing a headache. You're holding your arms out or in because you're so tense over a situation, or just feeling body aches that we're not aware of. With progressive muscle relaxation, what we do is we consciously tense up the body and notice how it feels to tense and to release. All right, so what you're gonna do is we're gonna start from the bottom up. So let's take a deep breath. All right, there you go. Y'all are experts already. So start with your toes and your feet. Notice how they feel. So you're gonna squeeze for 5 seconds. So squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, release. Next is your legs. You're gonna squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, release. Now your tummy, you're gonna squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Next is your hands and your arms. So you're gonna squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. And now your face. So you're gonna squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, release. It feels silly, right? It may look silly, may look funny, but you notice that all that tension can be gone in that moment. Now it's like, okay, my jaw was really clenched right now. I was clenching my arms too tight, my back, my shoulders. You can practice either doing the whole body or doing one piece at a time. And it can help release that tension throughout the day. So thanks, y'all.
We really appreciate you guys being so patient, and we went a little bit over on our time, but we wanted to make sure that you guys understood that sometimes coping skills aren't enough, okay? Sometimes when you have issues with problems with daily activities, like changes in sleep, changes in your appetite, in your grooming, like you're not showering, you're not brushing your hair, you're not brushing your teeth. Sometimes you might get feedback from your friends. They're saying like, hey, I'm noticing you're not quite yourself. Sometimes you're like looking around and you're like shaking a little bit. When your coping skills aren't effective and you're noticing like they're not suitable for problems, like you might have had like maybe trauma, you might have been in a car accident or something, abuse, difficult relationship patterns that keep repeating. You might notice that coping skills are happening for a little bit, but they're not quite cutting it. When you're feeling hopeless, like things aren't going to get better no matter how much you're doing or how hard you're trying, it's always important to reach out to someone you trust for help, even if you feel like no one cares. I guarantee you that someone in your life cares, okay? Even if it feels like they don't. Someone will listen to you and help you reach out to get the help you need. But who do you talk to, right? Parents, teachers, coaches, school counselors, your doctor, your coach. Your parents can connect you to a therapist who can help you sort through what's going on. Someone kind of like us. And if you're not sure who to talk to or where to turn, there are hotlines to call or chat with someone who's trained to talk to you about what's going on, okay? 988 is the suicide and crisis line, and there are trained people to answer the phone, okay? Or even text. If you hear a friend say that they feel really alone and want to hurt themselves in some way, reach out to a trusted adult.
all of those adults that I mentioned earlier. Many times it's that someone is in a lot of emotional pain and they don't want to die, but they don't know how to live, okay? Sometimes it's that they're simply having painful thoughts about harming themselves. It's okay to talk about how we're struggling with our mental health. There's no other way to feel better unless we talk about it. And I so applaud you guys for wanting to talk about this today, okay? 15, 20 years ago, our parents didn't want to talk about this stuff. Some of them still don't want to talk about this stuff, but you guys are here and you're talking about it. And we so appreciate you guys having us. Thank you. If you have any questions or you want more tips on coping skills and all of that stuff, we've got a really cool printout at our table with a QR code that links to a lot of these tips and some apps and stuff that can help you guys out. So we will see you after lunch.
Thank you so much, Anita, Carol, and Mark, for your informative and inspiring presentation. Help me give another round of applause for the staff of Central Counseling Services. Next, we will be moving into our lunch and exhibitor booth time frame. Please visit our exhibitors and gather resources and information on them. Also, visit our Yak booth if you are interested in getting more information about our program. Please enjoy your time, gain some new knowledge, and hopefully make some new friends. We are now going to bring back Anita, Carol, and Mark of Central Counseling Services for the next presentation focusing on generational change.
How was lunch? Delicious, I heard. I love that word. So we're talking about generational change. I mentioned at the beginning of our talk about coping skills and mindfulness and mental health that I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional household. My parents were not really around a whole lot. My mom was an addict. My dad kind of took off. And so that, as a lot of you probably know, creates quite a bit of trauma. We call that kind of the big T trauma. So trauma kind of creates in us kind of that, we talked about some of those symptoms of anxiety and depression for us. Those like symptoms that we have of not being able to sleep, having a lot of appetite issues, some physical symptoms like headaches, feeling a lot of nervousness and anxiety. I had a lot of those as a kid. And then I had a lot of feelings of like not being good enough. Why did my dad leave? Why is my mom not here to take care of me and my siblings? Why do I have to take care of my siblings? A lot of anger came up, a lot of that. Like, why? So I did a lot of work on myself, kind of like you guys. I decided like, I don't want to feel like this. This sucks. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be miserable. And I decided when I was about your age that I didn't want my kids, if I ever had kids, to go through that too. Kind of made that decision that you guys have made to kind of be generational change makers. So doing that hard work of therapy, going to the therapist, doing those coping skills, practicing the coping skills, trying to get them right, doing the journaling, going to the therapist, keeping moving forward and just keep making those choices to do different than my parents did helped. And I'm proud to say that because of the way that I grew up, my mom was one of 16 kids, for one. Some of you might have parents that came from really, really big families. And I think you know probably like when your grandparents have that many kids, they just can't take care of all those kids. Like you can't give all those kids like enough love and attention. So something kind of gets lost, right? And so when that kind of happens, you realize that something has to change, right? And so a lot of my aunts and uncles kind of have dealt with substance use, a lot of like alcohol problems, drug problems. I've had uncles that were homeless. I've had some that have gone through rehab and that have gotten better and gotten help. Some have actually gone through therapy and have gotten better and have done really well with their families. So my siblings and I and a lot of my cousins have kind of done and made that next step to kind of do better with our kids than our parents did with us. And I think that's what happens when you decide to be a generational change maker is you decide to do better than your parents did. And each generation gets a little bit better than the last, right? That's what it means to be a generational change maker, I think. So as generational change makers, we're venturing out in ways that our parents and grandparents before us have not. We're forging new paths in exciting and admittedly challenging and sometimes frightening ways. By being the first to graduate from high school in your family, or the first to go to college, right, for some of you, or perhaps the first to come out in your family, maybe the first to go to therapy and talk about things no one has spoken of before. You are brave, and I applaud you. For generations, a part of each one of us has held an unconscious agreement to show up as our wounded selves and maintain those old patterns that have kept our families in pain and trauma. This unconscious agreement has maintained those cycles of pain for generations. So when you see that pain that maybe your mom's in, or maybe that even you're experiencing yourself, think back to your grandmother, or your great-grandmother, or your great-great-grandmother, and imagine how much pain they maybe have experienced compared to what you're experiencing. And that is by no means an excuse for the pain that you're experiencing. But think back to, it's probably gotten a little better for mom, and it's probably gotten a little better for you, just as it's gotten a little better for grandma, and like it did for her mom. But stepping out as a change maker and cycle breaker requires breaking that agreement. And many of you are committed to letting go of old patterns and welcoming in healthier ones. So as generational change makers, this means that you are able to see the generational wisdom and resilience that flows through you. And see, we talked about resilience before, and that's defined as positive adaptation despite adversity. So over time, your ancestors have passed on to each and every one of you their knowledge and ability to adapt in the midst of difficult circumstances. So through that pain that they experienced, they got a little stronger, right? Each generation got a little stronger. They survived, they moved past it, they passed that on to the next one. And each time, everybody got a little stronger, just like you're doing. You acknowledge your part in keeping those unhealthy cycles going if you do not change. You are willing to make adjustments to exist in a body that can help you absorb stress better, just like we talked about those coping skills earlier. This means going to therapy maybe, recognizing and addressing family health issues and taking better care of yourself than your parents, caregivers, or other extended family. Adopting good mental health practices like daily self-care, meditation, exercising, yoga, all of those coping skills that we talked about before, even something as simple as playing basketball, doing your art, listening to music, stunting. You're willing to do the work on yourself to address any issues that may arise, even if that work is difficult. That is hard work. It is not easy. You're willing to assume the consequences of disrupting those old family patterns, because it's not easy work. When you start doing that work, it disrupts things going on in your family. You see those in your community through a compassionate lens and treat them accordingly. And you see yourself as a living ancestor who has influence over future generations and have determined that the cycle of inherited trauma ends with you. This is powerful stuff that you all are undertaking. So types of changes that we're making as generational change makers, we're talking about family issues openly. We're addressing our mental health and talking openly about our feelings with our families. And this can look like seeking therapy, maybe taking prescription medications for mental health issues. In some cultures, addressing our mental health and taking mental health medication is stigmatized. So when we ask maybe to see a doctor or a therapist, sometimes our parents aren't very open about that because that's not accepted in our culture. Talking openly about issues like puberty and periods, safe sex, consent, sexual orientation, gender identity, and disrupting gender norms. Men doing the dishes, right? Dad helping in the house and not just mowing the lawn or working and coming home and hanging out in the living room watching TV. Cultural differences that often occur between first, second, and third generations within families. There are often issues with expectations within families for children to stay home and help with paying the bills rather than go to college, or the reverse, for children to go to college and make their families proud when they really maybe don't want to. There's often resistance for children to not discuss difficult family issues, including mental health struggles, abuse, domestic violence, divorce, even with a therapist. So maybe your family's open to you going to see a therapist, but they're like, you can't talk about this, or this, right? And there's often a struggle between parents' ideas and society's ideas, especially if parents view the larger society as like dangerous or alien. If they're from another country, like if you guys are first generation and they're like, oh, that's bad outside, but in the house we're safe. And then religious differences. If we choose to change religion or spirituality from our family of origin, or choose not to practice religion or spirituality at all. So how do you talk to your families about changes you may be making or working on? So communication and boundaries are key. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Mark.
Y'all. Can everyone hear me okay? Who can relate to what Nadina was saying about being a generational change maker? Raise your hand up high. If you relate to that. If you think you have a friend or a classmate or someone who you care about who is a generational change maker, raise your hand. So let's talk about what it takes to be successful. Anita just mentioned communication and boundaries. We're going to talk about communication. I statements. Anyone here know what an I statement is? Have you heard that term? What is an I statement? Exactly. It's phrasing things in the terms of how I feel when you're talking to someone else. If there's an argument going on or just a heated discussion, it can be difficult when there are two people and each one is seeing the other person as the problem. So when we say, this is how I feel about this, that helps the other person relax and be a productive part of the conversation. So I'm going to say, I'm going to give an example of something you could say, and I want you to think about a way that you can turn this into an I statement to make this part of a constructive conversation. You never call me. I guess we won't talk anymore. You never call me. We won't just talk anymore. How can you turn that into an I statement? Yeah. Yeah, very good. What about this one? You're working on a group project, which I know everyone loves, and one member is not completing their part, which always happens, right? You repeatedly have to finish their work. How do you tell them how you're feeling using I statements? In the back? Yeah, very good. Okay, anyone have an idea of something that has come up in your own conversations that you want help rephrasing as an I statement? Yeah. Can you use the mic?
Oh, I didn't even see that. I'm sorry. Sometimes I have trouble and I get really frustrated when I'm talking, and then other people talk over me and don't listen or respect what I have to say.
So anyone else have an idea how that can become an I statement?
I don't feel comfortable when you cross my boundaries.
Yeah, there you go. And obviously, it's not 100% guaranteed to work, right? But that's part of making a different change. Okay, next one. Overgeneralizations, like saying always or never. Like, you never listen to me. It may feel like it's true, but another way to rephrase it would be what? Yeah.
I need you to try to listen to me more.
Yeah, instead of focusing on what they never do, you can talk about what you do want. What about, who can rephrase this? You always interrupt me. Anyone? This table's doing good. Yeah, anyone here? Either one.
What was the question again?
You always interrupt me.
Sometimes I feel like you don't listen to what I say before I can finish speaking.
Very good. Okay, let's talk about body language and tone of voice. Who has an idea of how body language can be a problem in relationships? Yeah. Yeah. You can look like you're mad, look like you're upset with the person, even if you don't mean to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like your palms open rather than like this.
So yeah, so you can look aggressive, you can look angry. What about eye rolling? Anyone's favorite go-to is eye rolling? That's your favorite?
Sometimes I roll my eyes, like I don't even realize I'm doing it, but like I get how like a lot of people do it, or like people won't feel comfortable talking to you if they don't think you care, but you do care. You just make like these like physical reactions and you don't even notice.
Nice. So the last thing we want to talk about with body language is focus on what you do want to communicate. Pay attention to your own body language, pay attention to the other person's body language, and kind of decipher what you think they might be feeling. And how could you use an I statement if the other person's body language is showing you something like being aggressive or being angry at you? How could you frame an I statement or an I question to understand what they're feeling? Yeah.
Why you feel this way to like what I'm saying or like what I'm trying to tell you.
Say it again.
I want to understand why you see or like coming off as a little bit annoyed or irritated with what I'm saying or trying to tell you.
Yeah, good. Okay, so last point is to understand that good communication about being assertive, not aggressive or passive, like you were saying. Good listening without interrupting, clearly stating what you need in the form of an I statement, having a teamwork mentality, standing up for your own rights, and anyone in here know what your rights are as a teenager in California? Do you know your rights? No one knows their rights. I don't either.
Oh, there's someone over there.
Oh, someone over here knows their rights. What is it?
To listen to your parents.
That's your right?
You just want to take it.
What about over here? Did you have? No? In the burgundy?
To speak how you feel freely.
What was it?
To speak how you feel freely.
Yeah, sure. To communicate your own feelings? Yeah. What about at the back of the table?
To my understanding, minors, like, I guess you could say, don't have rights because they are under their parents' like rights. So until they turn 18, they're allowed to like follow, I guess, everything. So while they're minors, they're protected by like a specific law until they're 18. So
Yeah.
we don't really have rights.
There are rights as a human being, as a Californian citizen, that kind of thing, but it is a lot different for a minor, certainly, but there are rights. For example, in California, between the age of 12 and 16, we all gain the right to privacy and self-management of our sexual and reproductive health care needs, like going to the doctor and asking questions about that, ability to consent or manage our own mental health care and medical needs. And in addition to the legal rights that we have, there are other types of rights that apply to minors, like cultural expectations of privacy, for example. So now I'm going to turn it over to Carol to talk about boundaries.
Thank you, Mark, for communication. And that kind of fits into boundaries when he brought in what we have as rights. As individuals, not just as high schoolers or as people that are underage, we have rights to our own boundaries. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So, what are boundaries? How many of you have heard about boundaries? Just raise your hand. Okay, a good amount of you, right? So, boundaries. Who has an idea of what it is, if they want to describe it? So, back there in that table to the very back.
Boundaries are like the extent to what you're comfortable with.
Yes, very good. Extend to what you're comfortable with. Anyone else? I'm going to have just right here in UCSB.
Like our personal like space, what like we say, how we want to be treated, kind of.
Definitely. That's a great example of another personal boundary. So, boundaries can be seen kind of as a dividing line, right? It distinguishes us from others. There's me, there's what's within my control, there's things that I can do that no one else can dictate. So we paint these boundaries for ourselves. And it's not just what we decide as a physical boundary. There's other types of boundaries that we get to decide what's okay and what's not okay for ourselves. There's such thing as physical boundaries, which define us, who we are as a person, our things, such as your phone sometimes, right? Things in your bedroom, your squishmallows, anything that's within your possession is another thing that you could apply a physical boundary for. There's sexual boundaries, such as our right to consent, our right to tell our partners, hey, no, I don't want to do that, or to be honest with one another. We get to paint that line. There's emotional boundaries where we decide how much we want others to come close to us emotionally, how vulnerable we want to be in the moment, and how others may make us feel in that time. And there's time boundaries, because our time is important, right? Especially in high school when there's so many things that are going on. We get to dictate what we want to spend our time in, what we value within our own space and time. Like I said, boundaries differentiate us from other people. There's me, my emotions, my behaviors, my thoughts, my feelings, and then there's other people. And they have their own thoughts, behaviors, emotions, and feelings. They get to dictate and they get to control what's within their own thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, and we dictate what's in ours. When there's no boundary, then who are we as a person? Do we become fused? Do we become one with others because we're letting them control things that are supposed to be within our control? Like I said, they define us. What are we responsible for? Without them, we can lose ourselves. So they provide not just a sense of self, but safety. We get to decide within our boundaries what's safe for us. A physical boundary that can make us safe would be going out with someone and they decide that they want to drink and drive us home. We provide a physical boundary by saying, I'm not getting in that car with you. I get to control my own safety. I get to control my own being. Another one would be emotional boundary, right? There may be someone, a friend, who may be poking fun, all in good jokes, maybe to them, but it can hurt, and we get to decide, hey, that doesn't feel right to me. That kind of hurts my feelings when you say those things. It may be a joke to you, but it's not a joke to me. So boundaries are important. We get to decide, we get to consent, and we get to set them in place. But what about moments where we don't feel as comfortable setting a boundary? All right. Anita had brought up a great point about culture. A little about myself. I'm a first-generation Latina. About growing up in my home, boundaries weren't really a big thing. It's family first. What you decide is centered around what's best for the family. You want to study that? That's not a good future for you. You got to decide on what's best for the family. And it can be hard because these things, these beliefs and these values within our culture and our communities set us apart from others. They make us unique. They make us feel special. So how can we set boundaries in situations like this? Does anyone have any idea? No? That's okay. Oh, go ahead right here.
Take like a long time. It might take like weeks, months, but you kind of just have to like gradually set that expectations, especially like with your parents, with your siblings. Like, hey, I know like we normally don't do this, but this is something that really matters to me and something that really matters to like my mental health, my personal space. Please respect this.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna have right here on the side.
So the thing is, like, you can't really control what, like, your family does, but the only thing you can do is, like, what you want to do. So, like, just expressing, like, what you feel and, like, having to tell them that they need to respect that. And most of the time, they probably won't. But just, like, vocalizing it might help because it's like it's very difficult at first because sometimes they might not be open to it, but I think just continuing to express like that will help. So
yeah, thank you. It's great. Okay, we're gonna go with back there with glasses.
I think to me it's just clearly communicating because I think most of the time people are open to boundaries. If you just tell them, hey, I'm not comfortable with that, most people will respect you and respect that decision, I think.
Yeah, thank you. It's great. There are times where people are going to respect our boundaries, but there's other times where it can feel disrespectful to some. But take one more example right here.
Specifically with like in the family household and stuff, if for some reason like you're supposed to talk about it, and if for some reason you still can't come to a decision, maybe find a compromise that kind of works for both people.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. I really like that answer. All the answers were awesome, but that kind of brings us into different kinds of boundaries. When we talk about boundaries, sometimes it may seem like this is a very strict and hard line that we're gonna set. It can be realistic for some, but not for others. So there's such a thing as a workable boundary, right? Setting a middle ground between yourself and your family and deciding, okay, maybe I can't set a rigid boundary at this moment because it causes me anxiety. It makes me more nervous than not having that boundary sometimes. With a workable boundary, you get to decide around your family, around your friends, around your community, what can be best and what can be as flexible for you. So it can be something as short as, hey, I don't like what you're saying, so I'm gonna put in a workable boundary and decide when someone says something rude about me, I'm just not gonna fully listen to those mean words because I don't feel safe and I don't feel comfortable walking away in that moment. The thing with these boundaries, with workable boundaries, is sometimes they can bring up feelings of guilt, of anxiety, of unease, but with practice, we're able to set them in. So an example would be a person named Vanessa. She has a study group that she's gonna be doing later on Saturday for a really big project that she has due. But her parents just came in and I said, hey, we're gonna have a family get-together, a family barbecue, and everyone's going there, so you have to be there. Vanessa's like, well, I have My study group, that's important too. Family's important. So knowing this, what are ways that she can set a workable boundary with her family? Back here.
I go to the family gathering, and then I'll only be there for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then I'll leave to go to the study group.
Yeah, it's a great workable boundary. Let's see, over here.
When someone, like, let's say her education is really important to her, and maybe, let's say, she's like first generation and she really needs to finish this class in order to graduate or something, and like letting her parents know and like her family know, I'm not here because I don't want to be here. I wish I could be with you guys and spend time, but my education takes priority over everything at the moment. So it's something that she has to vocalize and like be communicative with them about, like, my school is really important to me.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great way to set a boundary as well. Workable boundaries apply to you as an individual. There's no right or wrong workable boundary. It's what makes you feel most comfortable at that moment. And these are great examples of workable boundaries. So an old school rigid boundary that Vanessa would set would be respectfully telling her parents, no, I'm not gonna go. When maybe a workable boundary could be, you know what? I'll go, but how about I go to my study group first? Once I'm done, we can head over to the family gathering or the family barbecue. That might be what's best for her, but it's finding what's best for each and every one of you. It's hard setting boundaries, and we're here as change makers, right? These steps aren't easy, but you're out here doing it. Once we set them in stone and we practice and we stay consistent, it becomes easier over time. And again, as change makers, we can provide this great example for other members within our family, whether it's younger or older siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles. It starts with us, and as we continue to practice our coping mechanisms when feelings of guilt and anxiety come up, then we can continue to put in boundaries. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Carol. So why is it so hard to set boundaries? Because it takes practice and time, right? Just like our coping skills, we have to practice, practice, practice. If we haven't been setting boundaries, it's going to take us a while to learn how to set them and to get used to setting them, right? Culture. In many cultures, just like with our mental health, families don't have boundaries set or set boundaries with one another, like Carol talked about. Everyone's business sometimes in families, in certain cultures, everyone's business is out in the open, or we don't talk about everything, right? How many of us can identify with one of those statements? Either everyone's business is out in the open, or we don't talk about anything, or both, right? Or sometimes everyone either knows everything that's going on with everyone, or sometimes everyone knows everything and nobody talks about anything, right? Boundaries often bring up negative emotions as well. So setting boundaries can be difficult because it brings up difficult emotions and can cause conflicts sometimes, especially within families. So this is why good communication skills are so important. Why is it so hard to break generational cycles, and why don't our parents support changes? Now, none of these that I'm going to mention, like I talked about before, are reasons. None of these reasons are excuses. They're merely to help you understand why some families don't support the changes that you're trying to make. So their parents or families didn't talk about family issues. The cultural norm was often to keep family issues a secret, or it was shameful to talk openly about another family member's issues, like drinking, drug problems, abuse, an affair, domestic violence, or even divorce, right? Have you guys ever had like a family member talk about like something, even I remember I have a memory of someone talking about, my grandmother talking, God rest her soul, talking about some distant family member that I had never even met, and we were having dinner,
And she was talking about how she had recently been diagnosed with cancer. She literally whispered it like that, like it was a bad word. And it wasn't even something like an affair or like domestic violence or like drug abuse. All it was cancer, but it was something, not all, but it was something that this poor woman had been diagnosed with, and she didn't even feel like she could say that word. So all I could think about was, imagine if it was something that people infuse with shame, like a drinking problem or substance abuse or her mental health, and how we never talk about those issues. Some families are taught to believe that it was better to pretend everything was okay for those on the outside of the family. So you think about kind of the picture-perfect family, right? We don't talk about our problems with strangers. So sometimes our parents' parents didn't talk to them about mental health. So these conversations around mental health issues like anxiety and depression really didn't start in mainstream America until like the late 1980s and early 1990s. And so for minority families, though, culturally, these conversations weren't really happening even then because of cultural issues around the stigma of mental health. Even today, some of them aren't really happening. 15, 20, 25 years ago, many issues like gender identity and sexual orientation weren't discussed. And even today, many families don't discuss them. They won't discuss them. And this doesn't mean that your parents don't have the capacity to learn about these things, right? You might have friends coming over. You yourself might have different pronouns that you use that you're still trying to teach your parents to use, that they're refusing to use. You might bring friends over who have different pronouns, and your parents are still refusing to use those correct pronouns, right? It doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to learn that. There are so many resources available for them on the internet today. It doesn't mean that they can't figure it out. They can. Our parents' caregivers never discussed important issues like puberty and periods, safe sex, and consent with them. And even today, many parents depend on schools to have these conversations with their kids for them. Breaking generational cycles is difficult because patterns are often deep-rooted and widespread within families and within ourselves. We often don't realize that we're repeating kind of those same patterns that our families have within themselves. Shame and denial hold families in their dysfunctional patterns for a long time. So if you don't have a healthy model for good communication, healthy boundaries, and relationships, it's kind of difficult to begin to forge that new path with those new boundaries, new healthy communication if you've never had that modeled for you. When you start to do the work, you often meet resistance with other family members who do not want to change and do not want you to change. This is why healthy communication and good boundaries are so important. Then you can differentiate between me and my responsibilities and them and their responsibilities. So that's a lot of information that we gave you guys. And it might feel overwhelming to think about those huge steps you're taking as change makers, because they might feel huge. But I think it's important to keep in mind that the small steps you're taking by openly talking about some of these really tough subjects, by addressing your mental health, and by staying in school and possibly pursuing college, are actually giant leaps in the eyes of your ancestors. And also remember that if you ever feel like you need extra guidance, that you have a great team of teachers, school counselors, and coaches, and that we are always here to help you navigate the path that you're moving on as you keep moving towards your future. We really appreciate you guys having us out today. Does anyone have any questions? No? Thank you, guys.
Let's get another round of applause for the Central Counseling Services. Thank you so much for presenting to us and giving us safe conversations to have here. Our next speaker of the day is one has been most gracious enough to take time out of his busy schedule representing our community as the local state senator. Kelly Sayarto was selected to serve the 32nd State Senate District in 2022. He previously served the 67th State Assembly District from 2020 to 2022. Kelly has dedicated his life to public service, both as a mayor and council member of the city of Murrieta, and in his career as a firefighter, serving numerous Southern California communities for over 35 years. He retired at the rank of battalion chief from the Los Angeles County Fire Department in 2015. His legislative priorities include public safety, water infrastructure, wildlife prevention, veteran issues, government transparency, advocating for small businesses, and improving the quality of life for the constituents of his district. Kelly and his wife, Denise, live in Murrieta and had 3 grown daughters. So please give a round of applause for Kelly.
I like to walk around, so I'm going to have this thing on in a minute. All right, so I can walk around a little bit. So you guys, yeah? There it is again. It's not working. Okay, I'm going to switch over then. You guys are really enthusiastic. I'm sorry I didn't bring any raffle prizes, if that's what it takes to get a charge out of you guys. But you know what? Thank you for inviting me to your party today. It looks like you guys are having a great time, and I appreciate it when I'm able to come out and hang out with some of the people that are going to be making a big difference in the future, especially for boomers like me, because we're going to need somebody to take care of us someday, and that's going to be all of you. So good for you guys for being involved. So as she said, my name is Kelly Sayarto, and I'm your 32nd Senate District representative in the Senate. I represent areas all the way from Yorba Linda and Chino Hills down to, all the way down to apple pie country down there in Julian, and then out to the desert, all the way to Anza-Borrego. I don't know if any of you like doing off-road stuff, but that area over there, Ocotillo Wells, is where a lot of people do sand rails and things, and then up to Idlewild, and then also out in the desert. Currently, they're having a big festival. Is there a festival out there this weekend? I think it's called Stagecoach or something. But everybody's headed that way, so don't stay off the freeways. Anyway, what I do is I go up to Sacramento, usually leave on Sundays and come home on Thursday nights. And my job is to advocate for the constituents in my district. And so, you know, as you heard, there's a lot of things that I am focused on when I'm up there, but mostly I'm focused on what we can do to help people. And the best way that we can do that is to be able to get feedback from the people that are affected out there. So you guys play a huge role in that, because you are able to, you're living it. You're in your schools. You know what people are thinking. You know how people are feeling. And so you know what solutions might be out there that we need to be able to help fund or implement or make new rules for. And when you take that to your principals, and then they take that to the supervisor, and then the supervisor takes that to us up in Sacramento, and then we try to devise ways to enable those things to happen. And you can take the mental health issues for an example. That is a big deal, and we've been working on those in the state for about 3 years. And even though we've put a lot of funding in it, we don't really know what the outcomes are. And so we have to do a better job in Sacramento, but you know where we find out how the outcomes are? From you guys. Because you know what it is. You're involved. You're stepped up to come and talk to us about it. And so, anyway, that's how we find out what we should be focusing our efforts on. Mental health is a big deal. Mental health in our schools we've had some rough years, and we're trying to put together programs. We've just recently barely passed a bond, and that's supposed to bring more facilities, because the big thing with mental health is being able to outreach to people, and if we don't have that outreach, we're not able to help them. And so, you know, it's important not only for us to be able to provide funding so that programs that work are available to the people that need them, but it's also important for our young people to know how they can help at their level in their schools. And, you know, a lot of the mental health issues come from people that are feeling isolated. And at the school level, you know, how do you do that? Well, the student leaders need to make sure that they step in and they make sure that if they see bullying, that they stop that bullying. Or they intervene. You don't have to go up there and confront somebody. All you have to do is go be that person's friend. And then people start to see that, hey, that's a better approach, or that's being a better human being than I'm being if I'm being the bully. When they start being, you know, put out on the sidelines and see what they've been doing to people, that makes them change. So, you know, be friends. Spot those people that are really struggling with their social adaptation in high school, and reach out to them and help them out. Because if you're their friend, and I mean, sometimes these relationships, yeah, they're a little more difficult than others, but they need you. These kids that are suffering, they need you. And so that's something that you can all do at your level. So, you know, I know you guys have all come here and you're unlocking your potential to get out there and help people. But as you go on past high school into college and then also into the working world, you know, there's one thing you can do that can help, that can continue to help you help others, and that's public service. That's being involved in those jobs that go out there and help people. The job I had when I was a firefighter, that's all about public service. You go out, you help people on their worst day, and you hope you can make their day better. But we have, you know, mental health counselors, teachers, firefighters, police officers. All of these jobs are all about reaching out and helping people. And so with leaders like you taking that passion and going on into being adults and getting your education and that, you know, and kind of how you want to help people, you can be out there making a difference as an adult. And that's how you're going to be able to take care of the baby boomers like me when I'm too old to help anymore. And I'll need your help. So anyway, I applaud you guys for being involved at this level. And being community and you know, leaders of our youth in our high schools throughout the Riverside County area. So with that, I want to just say thank you again for what you do. Keep up the good work. Have fun with your spring season here. I know for a lot of you that are seniors and things, you're going to be going out, and the juniors and seniors, the proms and all that stuff. I'm going to tell you from my experience as a firefighter, please be careful. Use good judgment out there. Be safe. You know, sometimes we lose kids right between now and June. We want all of you to graduate. We want all of you to go out and do good things. You know, use good judgment. Get rides when you need rides, and don't be afraid to call your parents or your friends. Call their parents if you need a ride home. And because that's what we're there for, and we feel like we fail if something happens to our kids. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. I think Supervisor Spiegel is going to come up. I wanted to leave her just a minute of time. Oh, wait, she gets a few more minutes, actually. But anyway, she is your first district supervisor. Second district supervisor. She does a fabulous job of representing her constituents and all of Riverside County at the Board of Supervisor level, and she also likes to communicate with us frequently to give us ideas on how we can help all of you at the state level. She's going to get introduced here in a minute. A real deal introduction. So anyway, again, thank you for letting me come and crash your party today. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all of the things that you guys are doing, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those kind words, Senator Sayarto. And now I would like to introduce our next and final speaker of the day, a woman who is always on the go and is a huge supporter of the Youth Commission, our second District Supervisor, Karen Spiegel. Supervisors, go ahead. Supervisor Spiegel has been an elected public servant since 1996, serving in several positions in the city of Corona, including city treasurer and council member, and serving 4 times as mayor. She was first elected to represent the 2nd Supervisorial District in November 2018 and was sworn into office for her 2nd term on January 10th, 2023. Her actions speak volume, and her unique passion for service truly sets her apart. She encourages community participation with city and county government and has introduced many new programs. In addition, Supervisor Spiegel has been credited for leadership on regional transportation issues, collaboration, and regional partnerships. In addition to the service in her district, Supervisor Spiegel represents Riverside County at the regional and state level in many organizations and has served in a leadership role on several. She is an energetic community member, and her roll-up-your-sleeves attitude has led her to immerse herself in many civic, business, and community activities. She has been honored with awards and recognitions for her service over the years. With her depth of knowledge and commitment to our community, she proudly represents the 2nd District on many boards. Supervisor Spiegel graduated from California State University, Long Beach, and did her graduate studies at Pepperdine University, where she received a master's degree and was a marriage family therapist. Please give a round of applause for Supervisor Spiegel.
Well, thank you for including me today. 26 years this Youth Summit's been going on, so it's not new. And every year, we see some awesome youth. We look at you and know that you are our future. I know it's a cliche, our youth are our future. You hear it at school stuff, right? But it's true. You're going to grow up and be the leaders. There's going to be many of you in this room today that are going to be leaders, whether that's in government, whether that's in your jobs, your leader in your families. So everything that you have in your toolbox, and I say your toolbox, when you learn something, what do you do with it? You kind of put it back in your head, right? In your toolbox, I call that. All your experiences are there, both good and bad. And hopefully you learn from those bad times, right? Your future couldn't be any brighter. But that's up to you. When someone says, have a great day, it's your choice whether you're going to have that great day, right? You choose that. Sometimes we don't take that personal responsibility of our behavior or chooses the outcomes. So if we go into it with not a positive attitude, what happens? Think of the days, some days you wake up and you're cranky. Has anybody ever done that? Oh, come on, I know I have. You wake up and you say, I just don't want to even do anything today, right? I'd rather climb back into bed. It's raining out, or I'm tired, or whatever it is. But if you wake up and you say, I'm going to make a difference today, I'm going to do something good, it becomes a better day. It's up to you whether you're going to have a good day or not. There's many things that we do that has our attitude. These on the table are awesome. I don't know how many of you picked these up and read them. It's called positive thinking. There's even a book called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself? You put that in your head. So if you put garbage in, you've heard garbage in, garbage out. You put negativity in your head, negative in, negative out. You're not going to be positive. We make those decisions every day. How many of you want to be a leader in the future? Maybe a leader now, but in the future. You want to be a bigger and better. And that's up to you. Your life has two important dates. The date you were born and the date you're going to eventually die, right? We all have that. Some of us live a much longer life. But you know what's more important than any of the date you were born, the date you die? Have you ever looked at a tombstone? I know it sounds morbid, but it's not. There's your date you're born and the date you die, right? What's in between? A dash, right? Because they put 19, whatever. Give me a year you were born. Oh, God, 2006. My shoes are older than that. 2006 to whenever it is. But there's a dash between. That's your life. What you do during the time you're here on earth is all summed up in that little dash. That's the most important thing on your tombstone. How are people going to remember you? Were you the life of the party? Were you somebody that sat in the corner and didn't want to be friends with anybody? People remember, right? Think of when you look at somebody or somebody you talk about, maybe not positively. We all do that. Every time you do that, somebody's doing that about you. And I hope they're saying good things about you, right? So if you're spreading stuff that's not so positive, just remember, someone's going to do that about you. So careful with your words, because sometimes you eat those words, right? You know, when they talk about leadership, leadership means you're going to lead others to success. And there's a couple of sayings I want to share with you. One that's really important to me, and my staff know that. In fact, we even made coffee cups with it. There's no limit to what can be accomplished if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. Think about that. If we all work together, it doesn't matter, well, I did that, and we just accomplish something together. Think of how much more we get done than worrying about, well, I want to get credit for this. I want everybody to know I did this part. That gets in the way of the big picture. When we learn to work together, that's a true leader. Leader doesn't mean telling everybody what to do. A leader means picking everybody up and moving forward together. So that's what's really important about the future. And a leader cannot always be right about everything. Sometimes we think we have to always be right, and we always fight to be right. Pick your battles. You're not going to always be able to be right. Is that something you want to die on a sword for? How important is that? That you may make somebody upset, you may lose a friendship over it. Make sure whatever you're fighting for is important enough. Today you may not understand this, but sometime you will. Pick your battles. Fight for the things that are really important to you. Because remember, there's other people around it may be important to them. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Thomas Jefferson said that. You know, these people that are great leaders have left a lot of words for us to think about. So reading, have you ever heard the saying, leaders are readers? How many of you read, honestly? How many of you read other than school books? Good for you guys. It's really true. Things I tell you to read is, what do you say when you talk to yourself? Chad Schimler. That book, it's called Positive Affirmations. Make sure you fill your toolbox and your head through a positive stuff, because then that will project out. Do you like to be around people who are kind of grumpy? No. Do you think people want to be around you if you're grumpy? No. So we want to be the best people we can be, because good people become the good leaders. Maybe someday in 20 years, 30 years, somebody's going to stand up here and share a quote that you said. I know that there's going to be people in this room we're going to be talking about how great you've become and what you've done for everybody around you. So when I talk about good leaders, I know that our future never looked brighter, because there's some great leaders that are becoming more and more into that world of true success and leadership. So I hope you take today everything you've put in that toolbox, everything you've learned, these positive sayings on your table, the stuff that Senator Sayarto said about mental health, it's really important. Everything you learned today is a piece of the big puzzle of putting you together. And the end result is that little dash. What will you be remembered for? What is your legacy in your life? Because every step that you do moving forward is the beginning of your journey. And we want to hear about all your successes. Go out and have a great weekend. Remember, it's your choice.
Thank you so much, Senator Sayarto and Supervisor Spiegel. Thank you for coming out and speaking with us today. Let's give them and all of our amazing guest speakers one last round of applause.
Well, everyone, all great things must come to an end, and we are just at the end of our event today. We hope you all had a great time today and learned a lot about valuable information, gathered informative resources, and feel empowered on moving forward in your futures.
There were so many people involved that helped make this event possible. I would like to personally thank each and every one of the Youth Advisory Council members in attendance here today for helping make this event a success. I would also like to thank the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, their staff, community organizations, and all the schools and advisors for bringing you here today. This event was recorded and will be streamed on Facebook and will also be highlighted on the RivCo TV channel. So check it out and share it with those who were unable to be in here in person today. Thank you all at home for joining us today as well.
I would like to take this time to thank our Youth Commission staff for their months of hard work in organizing today's event. This includes our legislative interns, Anita Juarez, Ashlyn Arnold, and our newest addition, Ruben Quesada, as well as our Youth Commission Program Coordinator, Joseph Matthews. Next, I would like to thank our speakers who all generously sponsored our event by donating their time to be with you today. This includes Kimberly Smith Austin, Anita Munoz of Central Counseling Services, and Senator Kelly Sayarto. Thank you to our sponsors, Saboba Band of Luceno Indians, Central Counseling Services, Native American Fatherhood and Families Association, and Riverside County Board of Supervisors. A special thank you to our venue, South Coast Resort, the RivCo TV team for overseeing all of our media for today. They are recording this event to replay so we can reach more students who couldn't be here today. And lastly, I would like to thank all of our wonderful exhibitors for being here to share helpful resources that help to support our youth. Most importantly, I would like to thank each of you, our students and our school advisors, for being here today. I hope you find the presentations and resources helpful. I hope you broaden your knowledge and skills and that you implement these lessons in your day-to-day life.